Tes cobaan suara 1 2 3, cobaan suara 1 2 3. Tes cobaan suara 1 2 3.
Mic tu dekat dulu tau. Dia tak boleh jauh. Kalau tidak suara tu kena. Mic tu betul dekat depan. Bukan dia ni. Mic biasa. Kalau bisa ni. Biasa dia. Saya panjang. Dah tanya dah. Tak ada. Lima kunci. Tak mati ke apa? Ini dia. Mana?
Kalau brand tak mobil lah.
Dah. Tadi tak on. Kenapa ni? Bapa dia cakap tidak on. Tadi kan saya dah on lah. Dia tanya kawan bawah.
Nama dekat aku tak ada. Tadi tu dia kena. Ini kena sikit. Hello. Salah.
Jadi dia bukan mic kan. Faham tak biasa dia kena mic.
Okey, okey.
Hello, tes.
Tak kenal. Kan duduk macam ni. Macam ni. Aku kena ke belakang sikit. Macam mana? Hello? Okay. Test mic 1, 2, 3.
Tes tes. Tes 1 2 3 tes 1 2 3 tes 1 2 3 tes 1 2 3 tes T tes 1 2 3 slow speed yes. Slow speed dia macam slow speed tinggi lagi tes 1 2 3 tes 1 2 3 yes. Tes 1 2 3 tes okey dah okey.
Mic test 1 2 3.
Tes 1 2 3 tes 1 2 3
Mic test.
tes
Mic test. Loh, kau. Tes
tes 1 2 3 tes
Okey. Tak slow ke?
tu
Tak
mic
slow
ni
ke?
macam slow sikit.
Mic test. Mic test 1 2 3. Mic test 1 2 3. Mic test.
Tes ha.
Test.
Tes 1 2 3 tes 1
Test. Mic test 1 2 3. Kan okey aja. Sini kan, jangan duduk sini kan. Mic test 1 2 3. Mic test 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
Social professor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings to all attendees. On behalf of the organizing committee, we warmly welcome all of you to the International Mental Health, the Unseen Weight WeCarry. For your information, the program will begin shortly. To ensure that this event runs smoothly, the organizers request that attendees provide good cooperation in complying with the following. All participants are welcome to take a seat and kindly requested to fill the front row first. Please be reminded to switch off or set your mobile phones to silent mode during the event. We also kindly ask that you fill in the entrance survey currently displayed on the screen. All attendees are requested to stand upon the arrival of the guest of honor into the hall. All attendees are also advised to maintain proper decorum and behavior throughout the event. All attendees are also requested to remain standing for the singing of Negaraku and Wawasan Setiawarga UiTM. Important reminder, all participants are required to stay after our honored guests leave. With your kind cooperation, we hope this event will proceed successfully. Thank you.
dah.
Ini yang ada masuk. Yang ni aku buang. Proses terus sampai habis lah. Sebab ini part aku kan. Sampai habis ni. Sampai habis ni. So kan invite ni. Lepas tu kan di sini aku kan. Lepas tu terus forum kan. So aku lagi. Forum. Kira kau dua kali straight lah. Hello? Influencer yang berapa? Influencer yang berapa lah?
Announcing the arrivals of the esteemed Madam Roslinda Muhammad Subian, Deputy Directors of Psychology and Counselling Centre, UiTM Shah Alam, representing the Honourable Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Sazili Sahibi, Deputy Vice Chancellors for Students Affairs, UiTM Shah Alam, and the Honourable guests into the hall.
Please remain standing for the singing of National Anthem, Negaraku, followed by Wawasan Setiawarga UiTM. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now be seated.
A new beginning, a vibrant soul hue, as dawn breaks forth, the day's anew. With hopeful hearts and spirits bright, we gather here in shared delight. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The esteemed Madam Roslinda Mohamad Subian, Deputy Directors of Psychology and Counseling Center, UiTM Shah Alam. The esteemed Associate Professor in Senior Technologies, Dr. Husna Zainul Abidin, Deputy Deans of Academic Affairs, Faculty of Electrical Engineering. Associate Professor Technologies, Dr. Saiful Izwan Suleiman, Deputy Dean Research and Industry Networking and Community, Faculty of Electrical Engineering. Associate Professor in Senior Technologies, Dr. Nur Ashida Salim, Deputy Dean Students Affairs, Faculty of Electrical Engineering. Dr. Nur Hafiza Binti Burham, Advisors of Faculty of Electrical Engineering Students Secretariat SMFKE. Mr. Amirul Ramli, Mental Health Content Creator and TikTok Influencer. Ms. Mumtaza Afifa, Clinical Psychologist, Centers of Career and Counseling, UiTM Shah Alam. Intan Nur Farahin Muhammad Safini and Muhammad Fairuz Hazami Muhammad Jamil, Student Representative Council, Faculty of Electrical Engineering. Faculty Students Councils of Modern Languages and Communications, FALCOMS, University Putra Malaysia.
Institution of Chemical Engineering, ICAM, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, Kelab Rakan Siswa KRS, Universiti Putra Malaysia, Pembimbing Rakan Siswa IPG-MK THO, Institut Pendidikan Guru, Civil and Environmental Engineering Club CEEC, Universiti Malaya, Persatuan Mahasiswa Sains, Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris,
Badan Perhubungan Sydney. Program Directors of International Mental Health, Nordina Kayisha binti Zulkifli, the organizing committee members of International Mental Health, and all the attendees. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. We extend everyone our warmest welcome to the International Mental Health, the unseen weight we carry. For everyone's information, this program has received support from an external party, namely the Shah Alam Parliamentary Service Centre, under the leadership of YB Haji Azli bin Yusuf, members of Parliament for P108 Shah Alam. However, he is unable to attend this morning's program due to unavoidable personal matters.
with gentle voice and heart so true, to find solace, grace and peace, prayer recited to seek his grace, may this ceremony be blessed. Dear guests, to bless our gathering this morning, we invite Ahmad Naim bin Muhammad Effendi to lead the prayer recitation. Please welcome him.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, O Allah, most compassionate, the most merciful, Lord of the heaven and the earth, to you alone we offer our deepest gratitude for all your blessings and bounties. We express our heartfelt thanks to you for every form of grace you have bestowed upon us. On this blessed day, we, your humble servants, have gathered to celebrate the International Mental Health, the unseen weight we carry, organized by the student from Faculty of Electrical Engineering, UiTM Shah Alam. O Allah, bless the event with your mercy and pleasure. Grant us your guidance and wisdom, to that this program may run smoothly from beginning to end. O Allah, fill our hearts with love, gratitude, and joy. Bestow upon us the strength to forgive, to show compassion to one another. Let every moment of this gathering become a cherished memory, and bless the knowledge that we have gained, and may this togetherness strengthen the bonds between us. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you Ahmad Naim bin Muhammad Effendi for leading the prayer recitation.
To continue with our event this morning, we would like to invite Ms. Nurdina Kayesha binti Zulkifli, the Program Director of the International Mental Health, to deliver her speech. Please welcome her.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam UiTM di hatiku. Distinguished guests, Madam Roslinda Muhammad Subian, Deputy Director of Psychology and Counselling Center, UiTM Shah Alam, representing Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Sazili Shaibi, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, UiTM Shah Alam, Associate Professor in Senior Technologist Dr. Husna Zainal Abidin, Deputy Dean of Academic Affairs, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Saiful Izzuan Suleiman, Deputy Dean Research and Industry Networking and Community, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Associate Professor and Senior Technologist Dr. Nur Aishida Salim, Deputy Dean Student Affairs, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Dr. Nur Hafizah binti Burham, Advisor of Faculty of Electrical Engineering Student Secretariat, SMFKE, Mr. Amirul Ramli, Mental Health Content Creator and TikTok Influencer, Ms. Mumtaza Afifa, Clinical Psychologist, Center of Career and Counselling, UiTM Shah Alam, Muhammad Fairuz Hazami Muhammad Jamil and Intan Nufarahin Muhammad Safini, Student Representative Council, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, all respected faculty members, organizing committee members, and fellow participants. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremost, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for His blessings and permissions that have allowed us to gather today for this meaningful event, International Mental Health, the Unseen Weight We Carry, organized by the Student Committee of Electrical Engineering Faculty, UiTM Shah Alam. We would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the Shah Alam Parliamentary Service Center for its continued support of our program. Under the leadership of YB Haji Azli bin Yusof, Member of Parliament of P108 Shah Alam. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to all the attendees for being here. And your presence today signifies your care and commitment towards an issue that deserves far more attention, our mental well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, mental health challenges are often silent, invisible to the eye, yet very real. The theme we have chosen today, which is the unseen weight we carry, reflect those inner struggles that many of us face, especially as students balancing academic demands, personal expectations, and emotional pressure, often without showing it to the world. This program aims to foster awareness, to create a safe space for discussions, and most importantly, to remind us all that we are not alone. With guidance and from our distinguished speakers, which is Mr. Amirul Ramli and Ms. Mumtaza, I am confident that we will leave today more informed, more empathetic, and more equipped to support both ourselves and others as students and as members of the community. It is my hope that this initiative will serve as a catalyst for ongoing support, greater awareness, and meaningful conversations surrounding mental health, not just today, but every day and forward. In closing, I would like to once again express my heartfelt thanks to our honored guests, panelists, faculty leadership, organizing team, and every single participant. Your support and cooperation have been instrumental in making this event a success, whether directly or behind the scenes. To all my fellow friends, may today's program remind us that reaching out is a strength, not a weakness, and that we have the power to support one another, even in silence. May today's program inspires positive change and pave the way for a more mentally resilient, and compassionate campus community. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nurdina Kayisha, for the welcoming remarks just now.
The opening speech, a task so grand, to light the way across the land. With open hearts, we welcome you to make our vision come anew. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we invite our guest of honor, the esteemed Madam Roslinda Muhammad Subian, Deputy Director of Psychology and Counseling Center, UiTM Shah Alam, representing the Honorable Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Sazili Sahibi, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, UiTM Shah Alam, to deliver her officiating speech for the International Mental Health, the Unseen Weight We Carry. With all due respect, please welcome her.
Thank you. Alright. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to our lovely MCs. A very lengthy welcoming, but I appreciate very much. So, as mentioned by Ms. Dina, I am representing Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Sazili Sahibi, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, UiTM Shah Alam, for this program today. Right, so the esteemed Professor, Associate Professor in Engineer Technologist, Dr. Husna Zainul Abidin, Deputy Dean of Academic Affairs, Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Saiful Izwan Suleiman, Deputy Dean Research and Industry Networking and Community, Associate Professor Engineer Technologist Dr. Nur Rashida Salim, Deputy Dean Student Affairs, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Dr. Nur Hafiza binti Burham, Advisor of Faculty of Electrical Engineering Student Secretariat, SMFKE, and then our distinguished speakers, Mr. Amirul Ramli, mental health content creator and also a TikTok influencer, and Ms. Mumtaza Afifa Abdul Halim, our very own clinical psychologist from Center of Psychology and Counseling, UiTM Shah Alam, Intan Nur Farahim Muhammad Safini, and Muhammad Fairuz Hazami, Muhammad Jamil, panjang, Student Representative Council, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Program Director, Nurdina Kayisha, the organizing committee members, and all the attendees. Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Again. So ladies and gentlemen, we are very grateful to the Almighty for allowing all of us to gather here today for the International Mental Health, the Unseen Weight We Carry program, organized by the Student Committee of Electrical Engineering Faculty, UiTM Shah Alam, and everyone here for taking the time to attend this program. As mentioned, Dina also mentioned just now, I would also like to express my gratitude to the Shah Alam Parliamentary Service Centre that has been supporting this program under the leadership of Yang Berhormat Haji Azli bin Yusof, Member of Parliament for Shah Alam. Okay, so I'm glad to know that this program has received a tremendous support from our very own Yang Berhormat. So for everyone's information, this program is being held to raise awareness about the importance of taking care of our mental health, especially among you, the university students. This program also aims to help you identify some early signs of mental health issue. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that being a student is often one of the most challenging phases in life, where individuals are most likely to face mental health challenges due to various sources of pressure, such as academic stress, emotional stress from relationships, and also the pressure of family expectations. However, being aware of the importance of mental health can serve as a powerful tool in preventing the issues from escalating. By learning to recognize the early sign of mental health struggles, such as persistent sadness, loss of motivation, changes in sleeping behavior or eating habits, or a decline in academic performance, students are better equipped to take proactive steps toward managing their mental well-being. This might involve reaching out for professional help. That's why I would like to also mention that we have assigned for a counselor for each faculty. So I hope that you get to meet Encik Iman Hafiz, your counselor in charge, should you need help for further assistance. So please do reach out to him for counseling services, and other psychology advisors matter. This might involve also engaging in healthy coping strategies like exercise, practicing mindfulness, or simply talking to trusted friends or mentors. Cultivating this awareness and taking timely action not only helps students navigate their academic journey more smoothly, but also fosters long-term emotional resilience and overall well-being. Therefore, by being aware of this importance and the ability to recognize early signs of mental health issues, you can take steps to improve your mental health before it becomes even serious. Without further ado, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, it gives me the pleasure to launch this International Mental Health, the Unseen WeCarry program. Thank you, and may this program benefit us all.
Thank you, Madam Roslinda Muhammad Subian, for your inspiring words and speech.
Now, we would like to invite Associate Professor, Technologist Dr. Saiful Izwan Suleiman, Deputy Dean, Research and Industry Networking and Community, Faculty of Electrical Engineering, to the stage to present the tokens of appreciation to our honorable guests. With all due respect, we are pleased to welcome you. May we first invite the esteemed Madam Roslinda Muhammad Subian, Deputy Directors of Psychology and Counseling Center, UiTM Shah Alam, to receive the plaque of appreciation. Thank you, Madam Roslinda Muhammad Subian. Now we invite Mr. Amir Ramli, mental health content creator and TikTok influencer, to come forward to receive the token of appreciation. Thank you, Mr. Amir Ramli. Lastly, may we invite Ms. Mumtaza Afifah, Clinical Psychology Centers of Career and Counseling, UiTM Shah Alam, to come forward and receive the plaque of appreciation. Thank you, Ms. Mumtaza Afifah. Thank you, the Honorable Associate Professor, Technologist Dr. Saiful Izwan Suleiman, presenting the tokens of appreciation to our honored guests. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting our time, we will now proceed to our main session for today's program, which is the forum session. We are honored to be joined by two distinguished panelists, Mr. Amir Ramli, a prominent mental health content creator and TikTok influencer for mental wellness, and Ms. Mumtaza Afifah, a licensed clinical psychologist from the Centers of Career and Counseling, UiTM Shah Alam. We now invite our esteemed panelists, Mr. Amir Ramli and Ms. Mumtaza Afifah, along with the session moderator, Muhammad Amirul Akmal bin Muhammad Azhar, to take the stage and commence our forum sessions of the mental health topic, the unseen weight we carry. With all due respects, please welcome them.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for this important and timely webinar titled The Unseen Weight We Carry. This title holds deep symbolic meaning as it reflects the emotional burdens and mental pressures that many university students endure every day, the kind that is not visible to the eye, but felt deeply in the hearts and mind of all of us. Before we begin, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Amirul Akmal bin Muhammad Alfa, and I will be your moderator for today's session. It is my great pleasure to also introduce our two distinguished panelists for this forum. Seated with us is our first honored guest, Mr. Amirul Ramli, a mental health advocate, public speaker, and founder of the Mental Quad Center based in Malacca. With nearly 300,000 followers on TikTok, Mr. Amirul uses social media to raise awareness on mental health, emotional resilience, and personal development. He has conducted numerous talks and workshops nationwide, authored a book on stress management and addiction recovery, and is currently pursuing his master's in clinical psychology at University Islam Malacca. He is also certified under the World Health Organization's Quality Rights Initiative in Mental Health, Recovery, and Community Inclusion. Please give him a warm round of applause. Joining him is Cik Mumtazah Afifah Abdul Halim, a clinical psychologist at the Center for Career and Counseling, UiTM Shah Alam. She has an extensive experience conducting psychological assessment and therapy for both students and staff, addressing issues ranging from mood disorders all the way to self-harm. Cik Mumtazah previously served at the Clinic Psychology and Consultancy UKM and Hospital USM, working with complex psychological cases, and she has also led the organization of Psych Carnival 2023, a major mental health awareness event, and was recently featured on Selamat Pagi Malaysia to speak about emotional distress and self-harm. In conjunction with International Mental Health Day, our two distinguished panelists will be sharing their thoughts and insight on the topic, mental health, the unseen weight we carry. Let us begin our discussion. As many of us know, mental health has become a hot topic, particularly amongst university students. But for some in the audience, this issue might still feel unfamiliar. So, Mr. Amirul, when we say mental health, what comes to mind?
Okay, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. A different mic, eh? This one is quite okay. This one echoing. So basically, when we talk about mental health, for me, it's actually quite simple. It's your ability to fully function as a human being. So just a quick question: anybody here that afraid of using bus to get back to your hometown? Anybody here? Are you afraid or you don't want? It's okay. Yes, after incident, because a few days back, as you already know, there's accident happened with the OPSI student that involved and several student deaths. So that's basically, if you are deeply affected by that incident, maybe you are develop some kind of phobia or afraid of using the bus. And also, I think a few weeks back, there is also some cases in my hometown, cases where you might heard this news about a husband who killed his wife and he slaughtered her. So he lost control at his house. He slaughtered her. And when we talk about mental health, and the person is not being diagnosed. So based on the report, he's not diagnosed with any mental disorder. So when we talk about mental disorder, usually people relate it with mental illness most of the time, but it's not really related to mental illness. It's about how you as a human being, to function properly as a person. And also yesterday, I'm not even joking, yesterday, 5 minutes from my house, there's actually a murder case. 5 minutes from my house. There is a SPM student. So he killed his mother and his brother because maybe due to dispute and argument because he's being forced to study for the SPM. So with all this murder case, suddenly I feel like in Detective Conan world around me. So when we talk about mental health, basically is your emotion, your rational, your psychological, and your social well-being. So when we talk about your mental health, and it's affect how you think, how you feel, and how you act lah, and your social interaction. So just like how we maintain our physical health, mental health also is important. Sangat penting juga untuk jaga dari sudut kesedaran mental itu. Jadi kalau if we can manage our stress, we can cope with our study in our class, if we are okay most of the time, and we are not too sad, so our mental health is okay lah. But if most of the time we feel anxious, we feel sad, we feel depressed, so there's something work need to be done with our mental health. That's my point of view related to mental health.
That's a very good point of view. So in essence, you're saying that mental health is our ability to function properly. It's not just physically, like maybe you're not tired, but still mentally you feel quite burdened because there's something bugging you deep inside of your mind.
Yes, and also the mental illness, it is related to mental health, but the mental health itself is a foundation for your well-being as a human being.
Okay, duly noted. Okay, so next. For Cik Mumtazah, as we all know nowadays, the mental health crisis is an ever-growing crisis, always propagating, especially amongst university students nowadays. So, what are your thoughts on this growing crisis, that is the mental health issue?
Hello, good morning. You guys can... It's echo, is it? Okay. Hello, good morning. Assalamualaikum, a very blessed morning, I guess. Thank you for your attendance, everyone. I really appreciate it. So I'm sorry, but I have to correct a bit regarding the licensed clinical psychologist referred by MC just now. Let me introduce a bit what is clinical psychologist, because I'm pretty sure a lot of us had a bit of confusing misinformation regarding the professions. So in mental health, there's a lot of professions that has been known. That the most famous are counselors, clinical psychologists, and psychiatrists. These three professions are really work closely to cater the issues of mental health. So first thing first, we know that counselors is well established. So you know that counselor works with normal population that have issues that helps you to deal with it. So you mostly have met counselors previously or even in future. So that's what counselors do. But for me, I work as a clinical psychologist. What my job scope is that I'm working with a clinical population, which that if you met counselor first and counselors identified that your issue is more than a normal issue that normal population experience, so they're gonna refer you guys to me for an assessment. So I'll undergo an assessment for you if I identified any symptoms related to mental disorder, and it's justified to rule out the disorder. So you are being diagnosed with mental disorder. And if you are agreed to proceed with intervention, which is therapy, they will be proceed with therapy, most likely known as the famous one is CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, and also dialectical behavior therapy. That's the most common ones, integrated for the client. Okay, that's my professions. And for the psychiatrists, there is a lot of misconceptions regarding psychiatrists, because everyone was complaining, oh, I went to meet psychiatrists, but they didn't hear me. I went to psychiatrists, but the psychiatrist seems like doesn't listen to me and doesn't want to hear my issue. First thing first, we have to understand that Malaysia psychiatrists, they are very overworked. You have to understand the manpower is not enough. So they are having limited time to attend you. So if they are attending you, that's already a bless, because you got your part as a citizens, right? So attend them. So their work is to provide the prescriptions of medication. Their work, the main job scope is not provide the therapy. So you don't expect them to have a talk therapy with you. It's good enough you report to them the issue, what you experienced, and they prescribe you with the medication. And one more thing, the stigma that I have to correct, that if you eat medication, if you consume the medication and the medication give you a side effect, a very huge side effect, such as you cannot wake up from your bed, you cannot focus, you cannot sustain your attention, there must be issue with the medication. So you have to talk with the psychiatrist that, doctor, when I consume this medication, it gives me something that I cannot deal with. So you have to talk with your psychiatrist. Don't go home and be quiet and suddenly stop the medication. You cannot. You are under you are under observations. You are under monitoring with the doctor. So tell your doctor, talk with the doctor regarding the medication. Don't just go home and keep quiet and come to your counselor. Oh, the medication doesn't work. I don't want to eat it anymore. It doesn't work that way. All right. So please have this awareness. So whenever you go back to your psychiatrist, talk to them how the medication affects you, so that they can give you another different medication. So that's why it's important to sustain your mental health, because once you get to meet the psychiatrist, your mental condition is not as intact as normal population anymore. So you have to deal with trying different medication at one time, because you are another different outliers from the normal population already. Maybe not look at the severity not very severe, not too severe. Maybe you're already mild, but you need medication. But you have to deal with the consequences of not taking care of your mental health to the extent that you already have to consume medication. That's the what we call I don't remember the words, but that's the price you have to pay for not taking care of your mental health at the earlier stage. So that's really important to know when to get treated. All right. Sorry, can we get back to the question just now? Okay, the mental health, what I'm thinking about the crisis happening right now, right? So for now, I think mental health issue has been talking very variously, especially in the social media. Everyone is talking about mental health. Early population, young adults, adolescents, older peoples, everyone is talking about mental health. Everyone is talking about, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm so burnt out. But are you sure what are you talking is resembles what you are really feeling? Yeah, so my advice is that's why we have this profession: counselors, clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, developmental psychologists, IO, organizations, industry and organization psychologists. That is motive for you to meet this profession to get the real idea of what is actually happened to you. So don't just consume all the information provided in the platform. Yes, it is good for awareness. It is good for knowledge, but how far you understand the content? So for me, if you say that what is the crisis is the understanding of the people regarding the mental health itself and how they perceive themselves regarding the mental health. That's what I'm concerned about, and the crisis for now, I think. Yeah. To what extent are they in this issue? Where are you? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you at where are you at right now? So that's the question. You know? The crisis. Are you sure you are having crisis? Are you sure you are not having something else? Are they the mental health? Or is it physical health? You don't even know because you don't meet the professionals in that profession. So you have to get the right people to talk to regarding the issue for me. Yeah.
Thank you. That's honestly a very insightful opinion, if I have to say so myself. Regarding the earlier topic that you talk about, the medications and whatnot, I do think that's an important thing that we can take away from today's event, because I've met some people and I've heard some stories. They were talking that they were taking medication, but they stopped taking it because the medication has weird side effects, something that makes them maybe sleepy, maybe tired and whatnot, and they just stopped taking it because they think that that medication is not for them. Maybe this is your call. This is if some of you are taking medications and it has weird side effects, don't just stop taking the medication. Go to your psychiatrist, sorry, and ask them about the medication. Maybe we can get better medication from that. Okay. And as for the main question itself, when Cik Mumtazah was saying that maybe you are not feeling how you are feeling, that is not a call to invalidate what you are feeling, but instead that is a call for you to go and get checked out. You need to ask the professionals in order for you to truly understand how you are truly feeling, because sometimes people nowadays tend to self-diagnose, and that's honestly not good in my opinion. Okay, now Moving on to our next question. We've seen a rise in social withdrawal among students, and unfortunately, a stigma still exists when it comes to seeking professional help. So, Cik Mumtazah, what would you say to someone who has never been to therapy and is hesitant to reach out?
Okay, for those who are still hesitate to get treated, first thing first, you have to understand that to go to get treated, you have to be prepared. Are you willing enough to get treated? That's the first question that you have to ask yourself. If there is no willingness, there is no openness towards what's going to happen in the session, it's not going to happen. That's what I can tell. Because it's all start with you. Because I think stigma issue is relevant, but it's not the most intense issue right now because everyone is talking about mental health. Everyone is experiencing the same issue, the same pattern of talk about difficulties. Everyone is talking about it and everyone is giving you insight on the platform of online. As an example, we got Mr. Amirul to talk about why you should get treated. So I don't think stigma is the issue here. Yes, there is issue. Stigma is still there, but it's not the most intense issue that you have to think about because there's a lot of people coming to see us, the profession. That means the stigma is not the really impactful reason why people are not coming to see us, right? Because there's people coming to see us. But why someone is not coming, seeing us to get treated is because you are not ready, I would tell. You are not sure, you're not ready, you're not willing to speak up, you're not willing to open up. So my advice for those who thinking about seeking treatment, for me, you have to be ready for any consequences and circumstances because people might see you walking to Buddhisiswa complex. Your friend would ask you, what are you doing there? Right? Your teacher is going to ask, oh, where you been? You're not coming to my class. People are going to ask. You're going to experience consequences and circumstances of coming seeing professions. But are you ready to face that? So the willingness and the readiness that you have to prepare, not the stigma, not the other people's thoughts on you coming seeing the professions. So, but I want to explain to you the real services we got in the units, in counseling units, is actually not just subjected to counseling sessions, not just subjected to therapy. There's a lot of facilities aides, officers that are ready to help you in terms of variety of issue. Let's say you got financial issue. So might be the counselors and even me and even other officers can help you get through the faster path towards the aids. You got issue with college. So we might have the facilities that can facilitate you to get all the necessities that you need. You have to understand, going to unit counseling, a counseling unit is just not about mental issue. It's not just about mental health. It's just about services that we provide to you to get help. Okay, that's in terms of more than mental health. Okay, in terms of therapy, for those who are interested to get therapy, you have to understand the process in the units. You have to meet a counselor first in order for you to get screened regarding your issue. And if it is subjected to experience any symptoms that's qualified for you to be suspected as mental health disorder person, so you'll be referred to me. Then after that, you can meet me. You have to meet counselor first, and a letter you will be referred to me. Okay, you get what I mean? So there's a process. So you have to understand the process. It's a bit late. It's gonna be a quite number of steps, but it's gonna worth it. Okay. So one more thing I would say, in the therapy, we're not just gonna talk. There's more than talking. There's homework. There is monitoring sheet. There's thought sheets. There is more confrontations. There is more evidence searching in terms of thoughts. For me, in my sessions, when client come, first session we're gonna talk. I'm gonna ask a lot of questions regarding your background. Second session is more on working on yourself. Means I give you sheets. You go home, you monitor your behavior, you monitor your thoughts, and come back to me. We're gonna discuss it. What's wrong with that pattern of thinking? So there's confrontation in the session, but it's not a bad thing. Confrontation is not always a bad thing. It's a healthy argument, but you're gonna get insight regarding what's wrong with me. That's what I can say regarding therapy. Yeah.
Okay. Duly noted. So, okay, now for Mr. Amirul, what would you say to our audience member today who might be struggling but are afraid to ask for help?
Okay, if I can touch upon on the medication itself. So I actually have two family members, actually three. One is my mother, who developed schizophrenia. Have you ever heard chronic mental disorder? So basically, hallucination and delusion happen. So medication is actually help for your awareness. And when you have the awareness, then you can start to control your thinking. So medication is really extremely important for you to take. And the side effect, I think maybe 10 years ago, my brother, kesan sampingan tu sangat teruk sampai tahap kejang kepala. He cannot even blink his eyes. Aku remember lah, rasa macam sedih tengok kejang kepala kan. Because the side effect of medication is really strong, but as the technology progress nowadays, actually it's quite efficient. The side effects is kurang lah, is ringan berbanding dengan dahulu. And also you have to remember, consciousness is really important. So the medication will help in terms of consciousness, and when you have the consciousness, and then you can start to manage your emotion and your thinking. That's an important part of that. And that's why you need to further take the treatment and do the therapy session. Basically, awareness is really important in terms of managing your mental health.
Okay, so the key takeaway here is our awareness, our ability, and our kemahuan for us to go and get help itself. And this is like a personal story of mine. To be honest, when I was in my first semester, they were diagnosed with that there were some tests that we were given and we were asked to fill out. To be honest, back then, I got a call to go for unit counseling, but I didn't go because honestly, but to be honest, I wasn't willing to go back then because I wasn't willing to admit to myself that I actually have a problem. So maybe this is like a wake up call for me. Maybe after this, I could go and visit the booth besides in the next Dewan.
Also important, can I little bit? That's why prevention is really important. You didn't want to come to the extent yang you terpaksa makan ubat. That's why you need to start to take care of your mental health, not to go to the extent that you need some medication, because the medication is fungsinya untuk meredakan your thinking, your wandering, pemikiran yang menerawang apa semua tu. So the medication is actually slow it down. So that's why the people who take the medications actually feel like lifeless. He cannot remember things because that's a function of medication. Because if he did not take the medication, his mind will wander around, overthinking happen. So it's really important lah to prevent, to take care of your thinking, your mental health.
True. Even for me, I do think that prevention is better than the curing than medication. So if we have the time, maybe it's time to stop for a while and take care of our mental needs. Okay, next. Cik Mumtazah again. With the increased cases of student burnouts, how does your unit balance between providing reactive support and proactive mental health education?
But before I answer that question, basically I want to talk a bit regarding the assessment. Is it this assessment? Is it that you answered in your first semester? Was it? When was it? Oh, when? 2000? 22. I see. Here or where? Here. I don't think it's a diagnosis assessment. It's basically a screening because counselors not going to give you a diagnosis assessment or question to you out of consultation. They're not going to give it to you. So it just a screening. Doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean it's right. So you for a concrete justification, that's why you have to meet counselor for justifications now. But it's okay, it's passed. Since you get the awareness now, that means you get the answer from it, right? I mean, it's good things. It's a compliment. Don't worry. All right. Regarding the question just now, how we balance proactive support and mental health, reactive educations. I'm a bit confused regarding this question. Do you mean what we did to balance or what we did for the both elements of proactive or psychoeducation just now? Prevention and education. So basically, there are a variety of things in unit counseling we have done. So proactive, of course, we provide you with sessions. So session is the proactive, but I'm more easier to make it understand for you guys. It's like a short-term helps for a long-term help, because it's proactive is very terms that even for me, first time reading it, I'm macam, oh, what do you mean? So, but proactive support is like the short terms, like on the spot, what can I do to help you if you are experiencing crisis? Okay, you have to understand if it is working hours, yes, it is possible for us to attend you, but what if it is not in the working hours? So in our unit, we got a crisis team, but it's basically out of our work scope, because let's say there's a student having suicidal attempt. Basically, it's out of our job because it's a crisis. We work after post-crisis and pre-crisis. So it's not right for us. It's not right. It's not helpful point for us to go there to like, okay, please don't talk to us. Tell us what's your issue, because the client is not in the stable state. You have to understand. So who's going to take care of that issue is either pusat kesihatan, hospital, or polis bantuan, because they handle issue that crisis and on the spot like that. So we handle post event, which is once the client are a bit calmer and rational and a stable state a bit at least, for us to talk it about, to figure it out, to explore what's the issue that makes this client behave that way. That's what we can say. But we have a crisis team now for now. If that's something happen, of course we have to go at least to handle the event also, to be there as a support team. Okay, but for a real job scope is like it's not our main issue to handle at that moment because it's a crisis. So if you go there, we cannot do anything. So we cannot talk with the client at the moment. Are you okay? Are you doing fine? Why are you doing this? No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. So if that person behave in abnormal behavior like self-harming, become very not rationalized, talking in the salad words, that means that client is not stable. So we cannot cater, or I cannot conduct therapy on that client at that time because they are not stable. You can't even talk. You're not in your rational mind. So how can that possible? Okay, on the mental health psychoeducation initiative, we have certain programs like emotional well-being, program that have been held by the counselors. I think we got 3 series this year. And last few days, there is one program held by our officer, Mr. Hadi, also. But I don't remember. They also attend a clinical psychologist to talk about the issue. And we have another one series, not mistaken, at the end of the year. And other than that, we conduct sessions. So in session, basically, you get all the information. We call it psychoeducations. So that's why it's important for you to get counseling session. And also, if you need it, get for therapy, because in therapy we're gonna talk one-to-one coaching. That's gonna get the exact information what's happening to me, because information of psychology is vast, big, huge. So you're gonna know when you go in session one-to-one with your therapist or counselor, you're gonna talk about you. So you know, you will know about the issue, the information regarding your condition. So that's very important to go for a session for that mental health education for me. That's a very active one. Yeah.
So here we can see that for the proactive side, which is the education side, the counseling unit has held a few programs. And when it comes to education itself, the counseling session is also part of the education. It educates us about our own self, about our mental well-being. Meanwhile, on the reactive side, when things already happen, there's 2 distinguished sides that we can see here. First of all, during the crisis itself, there's another unit that will handle that, namely the PB or the crisis unit at unit counseling. And there's the other side, which is the counseling unit itself, where patients can come and explore deeper about their issues. Okay, thank you. Okay, next question. Okay, personally, I find that social media can be emotionally draining. Many users are sharing their distress online, sometimes without properly seeking help. So some even post sad and depressive content, sadly, on platforms, especially TikTok and Instagram. So, Mr. Amirul, as someone who shares mental health content online, what boundaries do you set for yourself to protect your own mental well-being?
Sorry, yes, about the script. So I think when we talk about boundaries, is really important for you because we are all actually in this digital world, and even you are not a content creator, definitely you have posted something, right? Whether it's status or you're on social media. So the boundary is you need to realize that once you posted something, sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, the people who are commenting, sometimes it's just for the sake of comment. So you need to understand the context of emotion. So when, like for me, when I post a content, usually when I come to, saya tak baca komen. Selalunya saya tak baca. Selalunya, usually I did not read the comment because it's too much, and I actually ask my wife to read the comment. So basically, my wife acts like a filter lah. She will look into the comment and find comment that is suppose I should respond to. So this is important because we actually have stress regulator which is different. Ada orang dia boleh handle tekanan yang tinggi, ada orang dia mungkin mudah untuk terkesan. So you need to be aware of your own stress regulator system lah, mechanism. So other than understanding the context of the social media itself, and also it's also depend on your current mood. If your current mood is okay, meaning emosi waktu guna social media tu okay, jadi when you read the comment, it's okay, it's fun. You're not affected by it. But if you have problems not solved, emotion problems, so usually you are easily affected. Boleh jadi komen-komen yang sini-sini tu pun usually affected lah. So another important thing is as a student and even working lah, pekerja, we are not supposed to use social media without boundary. Meaning to say, we supposed to this is my 10 minutes, so this I will scroll social media only for 10 minutes and then I will continue with my work. It should be like that. It cannot be like, oh, today I have nothing to do, so I just scroll social media, binge watching. So it's not good for your students also untuk kerja lah. And jadi sebab tu penting pengurusan masa, penjagaan kesihatan mental bermula dengan meletakkan boundary dalam penggunaan social media.
So generally, I guess we all should set some boundaries for ourselves, and maybe set some time for when we are using social media and for when we are not using social media. And as for you yourself, Mr. Amirul, I find it quite fascinating that you're using your wife as a filter.
Because she is the third person, so it's actually okay, reduce lah. But I actually already told her kalau ada yang komen tak baca. But I don't know, I think woman is biasa, kalau perempuan biasa kalau buka memang dia akan tengok section komen terus kan. I don't know, mencari sesuatu. So my wife helped me a lot. Usually I do not read because sometimes it depend on my mood. Kalau saya tak okay, saya terbaca komen sikit, nanti saya tak okay. Dia tak okay, we have kids, we have work to do. So you need to know lah, you need to take care of your own mental health.
True. I get again, maybe that's your way to set your boundaries between your personal life and your work life.
Also because it's gonna consume a lot of your energy. Once you wake up from bed and then you open your social media, you do comparison without you realize it. And perbandingan, kita buka social media, kita tengok status dengan kawan ke contohnya, tanpa sengaja kita terbandingkan. Jadi kat situ nanti tenaga kita dibazirkan lah, we waste our energy there.
Okay, so Mr. Amirul, again, when you're showing yourself on social media, do you ever feel pressured to appear mentally strong or perform well during even when you're not feeling okay?
Okay, honestly, I not okay. Mungkin bagi saya lah, saya tak ke arah perform well bila rasa tak okay. Because if we are not okay, we need. It's actually quite simple. Either you are okay or you're not okay. So if you're not okay, can you get back to the normal baseline quick? Meaning, if you're not okay, can you get back to your baseline emotion faster lah? And so it's all depend on your emotional regulation. If you're okay, you don't need to pretend atau pura-pura rasa tak okay semata-mata untuk menyedapkan hati apa semua. Kalau tak okay, bermaksud ada sesuatu yang perlu dilakukan. Kena belajar dari sudut uruskan emosi bila tak okay itulah.
Although this is a question for Mr. Amirul, I think we all can agree here that sometimes even we students ourselves and lecturers, we feel not okay, but we feel pressured to show ourselves as okay because of the professional environment and whatnot.
I would like to share a piece of wisdom that I got during my undergraduate year. So he said to me this, he's not a lecturer but a trainer. So he said, whatever happens, happens. If the thing you plan does not happen, something else will happen and you improvise. So I think that's mindset. It actually helped me a lot in my life. So kita adjust pemikiran kita sendiri kena ubah pemikiran. Dari sudut itu dia tak ada istilah okey ke tak okey. Sebab kita jadi mentally flexible lah. Kita adjust pemikiran kita. So that's one of the way to make me mentally strong.
Thank you for the insight, Mr. Amirul. So, okay, so next for Cik Mumtazah. Based on your clinical experience, what recurring mental health issues do you observe among university students, especially in this case UiTM students, and do these trends differ across faculty or disciplines?
Okay, in order for me to classify the issue or the mental disorder according to the faculty or courses is not ethical, basically, because just because we are a students population and I met students as my client, I cannot say that, oh, these course have more prevalent in terms of this disorder. And while this course is more prevalent to this kind of disorder, no, I cannot say that. It's not fair even for me or even for you guys as a students, right? So in the general population, based on my experience, I used to work as a trainee in HUSM, which is a general populations, adolescents, young adults, older adults, marriage cases and stuff. I work in a university setting also before, but it's a general population because we got external client also. I mean, normal people, citizens also can visit that clinic. So based on my experience on the general population, okay, I'm not only subjected to university students in this statement. So based on my experience of the populations young general, I could possibly conclude that the most prevalent issue within our young adults, youth, usually aged between 18 to 24, if not mistaken. The current issue is about self-harm and suicidal thoughts. Okay, it has become a trend. It has become a coping mechanism for these people. I'm also not sure why, because during my during my adolescence, when I was teens, when I was early 20s, I haven't been thinking about killing myself. I haven't thinking about self-harming myself. So it's basically a new insight, even for me as a practitioner, to meet that kind of thinking, to meet that kind of people young think that, oh, if something happened to me, if I'm arguing with my boyfriend, let's say, if I'm arguing with my parents, if I'm arguing with my friends, my friend doesn't reply my WhatsApp, I'm feeling like I'm killing myself. At first, I was shocked. At first, during my training years, because that's my first experience meeting client one-to-one. because we are not being trained by our supervisor to like, okay, this is how session works. So this is how you answer when you meeting client. No, it's basically impromptu. So how are you gonna answer that when your client said that, I don't know, I feel like killing myself. So what I did was I just blinking my eyes. It was so shocking at that time. But by time, I think I'm practicing like 3 years plus minus. The issue is already a trend for me because of the thinking. I'm not sure why. Maybe because of your readings, because of your sharing experience with your friends, you think that killing yourself is the solutions of ending the sufferings. Basically, it's not. For this young normal, dying is the last things that you want to do in your life. Even for me myself, because dying is scary. Dying is sakit. You know, Sakratul Maut is sakit, right? You know, meeting your God, if you're not prepared, it's gonna be a hell. So if you're going into your grave, you're gonna be questioned by 2 malaikat. If you have the background knowledge on that lah. But for this yang tak ada that background, I understand. Will can still psycho-educate in the session. So the dilemma of being a therapist when you experience this kind of issue in our current generation is that, for me, whether I want to psycho-educate on the psychology matter or I want to educate on the akidah matter. So which one are you? Which one you want to prioritize first? For those yang tak ada the religion backgrounds, I'm not judging you. I mean, I understand you are in that limitation, I understand. And I can provide that in the session if you need one, okay? And if that can help you to understand how life is hard better and it can make you stronger to go through these life stages of difficulties, then why not? I'll do that. I'm gladly to do that in the session. Educating you on the akidah knowledge, I will do that. But which one to prioritize at that moment? So it's a dilemma. Which one should I do? Therapy first or akidah psychoeducation first? Because it's a big matter. You know, mati is not the end of the suffering. No, it's the door towards another life, which is no ending. No ending. You're gonna meet your God. It's a big thing. So for me, the current issue right now is self-harm and also suicide. So we're gonna fix the thoughts on suicide. So I'm gonna investigate. I'm gonna explore why you think that die is the ending of the suffering. So I want to understand what you know about dying. What do you know about death? Why death? You're not thinking about anything? You haven't tried anything before that? Or where do you get the idea of die is the ending of any sufferings, especially emotional? Sedangkan you can learn about how to regulate your emotion from professionals. So why you didn't get that educations on emotional regulation first before you're thinking about dying? You know, dying is not as easy as it's being said, because it's another door towards a life that is never ending. So it's really important to get the real definitions of death first before you're thinking about death, because death is not really the ending of suffering, because the one who live in the life gonna deal with your death, gonna deal with your mess of your death. It's not as easy as that. You think that you die, you die, you do nothing. Who knows? How do you know you die and do nothing? There's not a work, there's not a job, there's not a question that's being questioned to you there. There's a big thing. So life is about how you prepare yourself towards the ending, dunya dan akhirat. It should be balanced. So where are you now in dunya and where are you now in akhirat? So, you know, so preparing yourself for that intention. There's a lot to do. You're still young. So dying is not the end of everything. And about self-harm, and I have to fix these thoughts that if I experience any difficulties, if I experience any argument, if I experience any conflict with anyone, even with my life, why should I punish myself? Why should you punish yourself? Why should you harming yourself? Sedangkan Allah dah kata, I go Malay a bit and I go religion a bit. Allah dah kata, jangan pernah zalim dengan diri sendiri. So behavior zalim, you know, self-harming is zalim sebab you cederakan diri you sendiri. So Allah dah cakap, sezalim-zalim manusia adalah zalim dengan diri sendiri. There's a few ayat in Quran Allah mention a few times. Sezalim-zalim manusia adalah manusia yang zalim kepada diri sendiri. Yes, you commit sins. You do mistakes. You might fall down in your life. Tapi jangan pernah sakiti diri sendiri sebab that's the worst thing that someone can do to himself or herself. Then wake up, bangun, do something. You know, that's how life works because hidup ni panjang. Different age, different life stages, different difficulties, different intensity of hardships. So that's why you manusia, Allah dah kata sebaik-baik ciptaan adalah manusia. Why? Sebab you mampu. So seek help lah. If you are not mampu, seek help. If you rasa masa tu you tak mampu, because you mampu. Allah dah kata you mampu. So seek help. Macam tu. So that's the issue lah for now. Yang paling prevalent, self-harm and also suicidal thoughts.
Cik Mumtazah not only educated on how we can handle our mental well-being, but also quite educated in the Islamic education, I feel. Maybe we should profit the fashion by calling you Ustazah after this. Oh. So, before we drag... okay. Before I drag this even further,
Can I add a point?
Sure.
In terms of self-harm and suicide, so when we talk about mental health, it's actually your ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So kadang-kadang dia berkait dengan anda punya biology mechanism juga. And kalau anda pernah dengar tentang serotonin, so if your serotonin drop, based on new research actually that I read, if your serotonin is low, susah nak nampak sinar di hujung jalan. Walaupun penyelesaian tu tak ada lagi. Kan? Beza orang yang sihat, maksudnya dari sudut mental yang sihat, dia mampu untuk melihat sinar di hujung jalan dia. Walaupun dia sedang berhadapan dengan kesukaran itu. Sometimes it's your own biology lah. Tanpa sedar, you dah lama tak dapatkan cahaya matahari because it's important. Your sunlight, morning sunlight is actually important to increase your serotonin. Or maybe dah lama sangat duduk dalam bilik, tak ada interaksi sosial. Jadi tanpa sedar, dah efek dari sudut level serotonin tu. Sometimes kadang-kadang kita ingatkan mental fikiran semata-mata, tapi biology mechanism juga affected. Boleh ganggu dari sudut itu.
So it might not just be general factors, so to say, that affects our mental health, but sometimes it might also be biological factors or environmental factors that might affect how we feel and how our brain chemistry processes itself.
Yeah, he able to comprehend what we told the audience, so he can conclude it very well. Like brilliant, Amira. Here's a compliment, anyways. Okay, I want to add a bit regarding emotions. If you know, when I was master students, we learned about neuroscience subject. There's another course along with my courses. It's neuroscience. So we take neuroanatomy. So I study about the brain anatomy. So when I want to explain about how your moods in terms of scientific anatomy, in terms of brain. So in our brain, features at the back of our brain is called amygdala. It's a brain parts of the brain. So at the back is amygdala. It's a center for emotion. So roles of this amygdala is to control emotion. So it's react to trigger in terms of emotional trigger. So it's control emotion, and if there is any threats, any fear, it's react to it. So if you're lacking sleep, one of the factor that's going to affect amygdala functioning is deprived sleeps. So please take care of your sleep, because there's a study showed that if you lacking sleep for one night, it's going to affect the reactivity of the amygdala for about 60%. It's become hyper reactivity. That's why if you're lacking sleep, you become more vulnerable to emotions. It relates also with the prefrontal cortex in the front of your brain. This is prefrontal cortex. This is prefrontal lobes. It's control your cognitive functioning. So it's really important also to take care of this part of your brain, because if you're accident, you getting into brain injury, is this part affected? It's going to affect your cognitive functioning in terms of judging, critical thinking, decision making, planning. So that's all what you need as a human, right, to function. So please take care of your brain. So relates with that prefrontal cortex, it helps with emotional control, impulse control. So if your amygdala become more hyperreactivity, 60% is if just you losing your sleep for one night, your amygdala become more reactive. So everyone talking a bit harsh to you, you become, oh, triggered. You know, because your brain is hyper reactive, that amygdala part. So your prefrontal cortex is to control that reaction. Kerja dia adalah untuk control emotion. So dia control impulse controls. Bila you lacking sleep, that prefrontal cortex tu dia akan reduce or decrease the activity of that prefrontal cortex. So bila you tak tidur, amygdala you become hypersensitive, and then prefrontal cortex you tak active. So you know the linkage? You understand the linkage? So you jadi cepat marah lah. You become more emotional dysregulation. You become emotional outbursts. You easily reacted. You easily vulnerable. So sleep really, really important in order for you to function. So take care of your sleep. So kalau you rasa sleep you affected, that means something wrong somewhere. You have to get consultations now, because sleep is the most crucial part for you to function the next day. Yeah.
Okay, for all of those students out there, I know that right now we are in our assignment phase, our mini project phase. So even though you have a lot of work to do, this is our advice to you. Don't neglect your sleep. Look at who's talking. Okay, if we neglect our sleep, then that might be the cause of why sometimes we are snappy. We might just snap sometimes. So again, please, although I might be joking just now, don't neglect your sleep. Please sleep well. Okay. Okay. As for the earlier topic about the trends that you are seeing nowadays, I'm not licensed, so I'll give that disclaimer beforehand. But maybe these are like my 2 bits about that topic. Maybe there's a good chance that the suicidal tendencies or the tendency to self-harm might be a product of our modern literature, because sometimes nowadays that when we are reading novels or watching movies, sometimes those kind of media tend to novelize, tend to romanticize the idea of self-harm, the idea of dying. Maybe dying is a novel thing for them. Okay. And for another point from me, maybe people tend to think about this because they don't have a proper outlet for them to properly express themselves. So when they did something wrong, they don't know how to express themselves. So they just self-harm, or maybe think that they are better off dying than living because because they don't know how to properly express themselves. Okay. So moving on, for Mr. Amirul, again, I do know that you're not licensed to go for cases and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure that there are some unique cases out there that you might feel inclined to reach out, or they are reaching out to you. So have you encountered any of these unique cases or types of people who have reached out to you?
Ada sekali tu, we usually think that we are the worst. Selalulah kita rasa yang kita yang masalah hidup apa semua kan. Ada satu kes ni yang dia fully paralyzed, fully, and at the same time he has cancer perut, fully paralyzed, cancer perut, and he also ada depression, kemurungan. And at the same time, to make it worse, duit bantuan bulanan tu keluarga dia yang ambil. So dia beritahu lah situasi dia macam mana apa semua tu kan. So kita sebagai pendengar, kita tak boleh nak buat apa-apa lah, just we listen apa yang dia ceritakan apa semua tu. But kita lebih ambil ini sebagai satu pengajaran lah kan. Kita rasa kita dah sangat teruk kan, tapi sebenarnya ada orang lain lah yang lebih deeper issue, ada cabaran kehidupan yang lebih teruk yang mereka kena hadapi. Sometimes bila kita berhadapan dengan masalah, tekanan yang kita hadapi, selalunya we more to internalize. Kita lebih kepada dalaman diri sendiri, sebab tu kita kadang jarang untuk lihat orang lain apa semua. Sometimes we need to lihat luaran persekitaran kita, kawan-kawan kita. Kena kurangkan masa terlalu self reflection sangat. Kalau lebih pada overthinking, benda tu lah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Amirul. Okay. So moving on, sometimes students may find it hard to visit the counseling unit due to scheduling conflicts or distance. Like you have said just now, Cik Mumtazah, sometimes our schedule conflicts with the schedule of the unit counseling. It's not easy for students to actually go during class time to visit the counseling unit. So, Cik Mumtazah, what's your advice for those who need immediate help but cannot access the in-person support?
Okay, usually for this kind of case, it's depend on the severity of the cases. So for those who are having emotional dysregulation, means that you suddenly become anxious, become overwhelmed, feels like it's too much to handle at that time. So what you can do, this is usually I call it severity is moderate lah, mild to moderate. If it's severe, it's categorized into self-harm or suicide. So that one is a crisis already. So for this kind of overwhelm, this kind of anxiousness, to the extent you're shaking, to the extent that's making you out of breath, it's making you sweating, to the extent you cannot working, you cannot moving. First, if you are rational enough to think at that time, is of course you have to reach out for social support first. So get in touch with those that you believe, that you trusted, such as family members or friends that can hear you at that time. But we understand people are having a limitation, right? People are working themselves also at certain times. So you cannot fully depending on social support. If kalau ada that time, it's good for you. If kalau tak ada, what could you do? That's why our ministry establish a certain hotline, what we call hotline, hotline talian yang famous now is Befriender, but I hear certain complaint that people said that when they call, they didn't pick up. But understandable, they might have limitation on manpower also. But we got other alternative, which is Naluri and also Heal hotline. So you may as well call Heal or Naluri hotline for talk support lah. So people in that hotline at least can facilitate you. What can I do at this moment? I feel this way. I think this way. So that people in that can at least ease your unconscious, anxious mind at that moment. Okay, that's for unsevere cases. Other than that, you can also go for, if it is cases yang severe, macam self-harm or suicidal thoughts, the urge to suicide is very severe, very high. My advice is straight away go to the hospital emergency. That's the safest space for you. You go there is bukan sebab you nak perhatian ke apa, because it's the safest place for you. You kena faham. Let's say hospital pandang you macam, kenapa budak ni datang kat sini and everything. It's not about that. It's about you. It's about you need that place. You need that space untuk tak cederakan diri sendiri. You know, the space itself, the emergency hospital space itself, the safest for you. Sebab ramai orang, sebab ada medical officer, sebab ada medical help kat situ if anything happen. Okay, you got what I mean. That's the most easiest help that you can get at the moment. Sebab orang lain have their own commitment. You have to understand that not everyone can be with you at every moment. Even for me, therapist itself. Out of working hour, I will switch off for my own good sake of mental health. Okay, so you have to go to the hospital if it's severe. So for now, yang I can provide yang effective. Social support, call your friends or call your family members yang you trusted. Second, call hotline for more easiness, for more to ease your anxious tu. Bukan nak suruh tolong you. They cannot help you. So yang boleh tolong you hanya diri you. To help you, facilitate you, support at that moment, that's itulah social support and also hotline. And another one, for the safest place, if you experience the crisis, go to the hospital emergency. Tell them, I'm feeling suicidal. I cannot control it anymore. So they're gonna take care of you. That's the only yang I boleh share if you are experiencing the crisis on the moment, if there is no one else to help you to deal with it.
Okay. Thank you, Cik Mumtazah. So we can see here that during, let's say, our normal times, one of the best support that we can get is social support, maybe from our family, maybe from our friends. If there are those that you are close with, that we are close with, and you know that you can rely on them. just feel free to hit them up. But do know that they cannot help you because even they themselves lack the knowledge needed to deal with the problems that we might currently be facing. So if you do have the time, make some time for yourself and find help. Get mental health help. And if it's an emergency, it's an emergency. So the best place for you to be during that time is in the hospital, in the emergency section. Just go there and tell them that, oh, now you're having an episode, you're having an emergency and you need help right then and then. So don't be worried about your schedule or about that time. You need help, so go and seek it. Okay.
Little bit of additional information. Besides that, if you think that you can control, usually happen to the anxious person, anxiety disorder client, breathing techniques is the most effective techniques for those who experience anxiety. So this is very underestimate. Most of the people say that, oh, it's just breathing. I breathe, but I didn't feel relaxed. Are you sure you're breathing rightly? So that's the questions. Because I give you an analogy. Everyone breathing, but certain experience relaxation, certain doesn't feel relaxed. Why? Because the techniques you do is not right. Okay, so don't underestimate breathing techniques because in every crisis or in every emergency situations or anxiousness, breathing is the most effective tools that you can use. I bagi lagi satu analogy. Everyone, because it's a technique, so you have to practice. You don't expect you become anxious at that moment, you breathe at that moment, you become relaxed. Doesn't work that way. As an example, everyone can play badminton, right? But not everyone can master being a badminton player. So what's the difference? Everyone did it, but which one is practice more? The player, of course. So same goes to breathing. So you have to learn to breathe in the correct manner in order for you to get the effectivity. So I would suggest my client to practice breathing at least for those who pray. You can at least take 5 times from the prayer. After prayer, you can just doing nothing. Just breathe without thinking. Just 5 minutes of every day. Yang ambil je 5 minit tu to ease your mind through breathing. So at the end of the day by time, I would say after 3 months minimum, you don't expect you become more relaxed after 2 weeks that practice that. It doesn't work that way. It's a long-term investment for yourself, not for me. But I become more relaxed, become more chill, become more open to world difficulty after I practice breathing. So it's for a long-term run. If you want to be a good person, you want to be a person who doesn't react impulsively towards difficult issues or situation, because issues, obstacles, challenges, problems going to happen every single day. You cannot avoid it. It's happened. So breathing can help you to deal with it more rationally. Sebab breathing ni, they prepare your muscles to relax, especially your cardiac muscle. Because once you stress, once you tense, your cardiac muscle will tense. So you tended to having difficulty to breathe. So tense it. To not tense it is to breathe slowly with the correct manners of breathing techniques. So practice that every single day. It's going to prepare you become a very relaxed person. Means you can deal with anything. Cars broke down. Okay, call Poman. You got scolded. It's okay. You can think rationally. That means I did something wrong, and means I have to improve. I admit my mistakes, but doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Right? Dia bagi you more space untuk berfikir lebih rational dan matang and tak react immaturely. So you don't underestimate breathing. It's very effective, especially when you want to do presentation. It gives you confidence. It gives you relaxations. It gives you that feelings of easiness. So start practice nowadays lah. Okay? I think that's all for me.
Okay, I would like to also to add, kecepatan dapatkan rawatan tu pun satu faktor yang sangat penting. Maksudnya kalau berlaku suatu simptom and you get the treatment as fast as you could, it's actually really help. Because my brother who developed schizophrenia is actually after 4 years, around 4 years. Memang dah sangat teruk maksudnya he cannot manage himself, dah tak boleh urus diri, merangkak kat jalan. So basically dah buat sesuatu perkara di luar normal kemanusiaan lah, out. Jadi selepas 4 tahun tu, because 10 years ago, the stigma around mental health is quite strong. Maksudnya orang tak ada kesedaran lagi dari sudut macam mana dapat rawatan, ni penyakit apa, kena sampuk dengan hantu ke apa ke. But nowadays it's okay. So I actually have friends who develop schizophrenia, chronic mental disorder, OCD, and also bipolar disorder, 3 in 1. But now he actually fully healed. He don't need to take treatment because tempoh masa dia pakai dulu lebih kurang setahun saja. Setahun, he go to the expert and he took the medication, which is very important for the awareness. The medication is actually to reduce the symptom. But when you have the awareness, you actually need to do something lah about your mental health. Maksudnya aktif secara fizikal ke, jaga social interaction, buat sesuatu fikir yang positif. So, dapatkan rawatan dengan cepat, peluang tinggi untuk pulih sepenuhnya.
So, to all of those of you out there, sometimes you need to learn to listen to your gut. Sometimes you feel that something is wrong. So, you need to go at least go and get checked so that you can prevent the problem from snowballing. And talking about breathing techniques, this is something that I can personally guarantee. Breathing technique does work. Okay, this is a personal story again. Okay, I had a panic attack. So, when we are having a panic attack, sometimes our breathing becomes erratic, our thoughts becomes bercelaru, serabut. It goes everywhere, our thoughts. So when I was having that attack, one of the things that I did was something that I don't know the name of it, but I called it the box breathing technique. For those in the audience, those who sometimes might struggle to think clearly, those who might struggle to control their heartbeat, maybe sometimes you feel like your heartbeat is beating erratically, try this. How I do it, you breathe 4 seconds within using your nose. Okay, let's try it right now. How about that? Okay, let's breathe in 4 seconds through our nose. We can do it right now, okay? 1, 2, start. Hold it in 4 seconds. And then breathe out using our mouth. 4 seconds. Again, like Cik Mumtazah said, it might not work immediately because it's a long-term investment, but do try. Maybe it's a long-term investment. So do try, practice it from time to time. Maybe not when you're having an anxiety attack, that's when you're trying to practice it. Maybe when you are going for a presentation, maybe you have a talk you have to give, try and practice it. And inshallah, it will benefit you in the long run. Okay. Okay, moving on. For Mr. Amirul, creating mental health content is definitely not easy. So how do you ensure that the content that you post is accurate and psychologically safe for your audience, especially in this day and age where IoT, Internet of Things, dominates the world? Yeah.
Okay, great question. So usually when creating an online content, is rarely that I start from nothing. Usually I have some source, maybe a new research, and I adapt it so it can go into wide audience, so mudah untuk orang lain faham. Back then, kalau dulu actually it's difficult. When we write something, we need to Google and refer to blog and articles. I think nowadays it's much easier because you can write your own piece of content and then you can ask ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT, can you give me a critical feedback on my writing? So now it's actually quite easy lah so that you are not giving false information and you are not oversimplifying things. It's really helpful this nowadays technology. Back in the day, I actually started with sharing my content with private things lah, my family matters, about the schizophrenia and things, because I believe if I had not shared that with the public, people will not know that this one you can treat it, you can bring it to the doctor, to the hospital. And after some times, I actually realized that when we talk about a specific mental disorder, it's actually better to just direct people to the psychologist, clinical psychologist, or the psychiatrist, because it's easily nowadays to self-diagnose self lah. So we don't want to the confirmation bias to happen. Asalnya okay, tapi bila tengok content tu dia rasa oh aku ni tak okay kot. So nowadays I actually go into broad topic lah, lebih kepada mental health itself berbanding dengan specific mental disorder. Kalau dulu je saya masuk terus bipolar apa ni apa, tapi sekarang ni I go quite big lah, more towards the mental health itself, because a person who has mental health condition itself, on top of whatever professional help they are getting, they still need some advice on guide on how to take care of their own mental health. That's why I go wide lah, more on mental health itself.
Okay, Mr. Amirul. So we can see that in this day and age, information is key. So we need to research our information properly, and we cannot, I emphasize this, we cannot oversimplify the things that we're trying to get through to our audience.
Also do not trust what you found in internet so easily lah. That's why it's important for you to take yourself, go to the counselor, the licensed psychiatrist or psychologist.
And Mr. Amirul, before we went for this forum session, I actually took the time to see your TikTok profile, and I can get okay, so for those out there, if you guys want to see Mr. Amirul, you can try and search amirul.ramli. Okay, and I can safely say that Mr. Amirul does do what he preach. When I see his videos, I can see the research that he put into his videos. All of the terms, all of the knowledge that he's sharing is definitely well thought out. Okay, so Mr. Amirul, this might have been a bit related to one of the earlier questions. So mental health content online is also a subject of criticism. Have you ever received backlash from professionals specifically, not just those who are trying to put in hate comments towards you? Have you ever received backlash from professionals, and how do you respond to that?
Yes, I have faced criticism, especially ada doktor lah, mungkin ada doktor yang when I look at this comment yang quite disagree, because when we talk about mental illness, sometimes when it go wide public, for some people it's overgeneralization or macam terlalu macam ringkas sangat. But I understand from their medical point of view, in medical solid dengan precision ni penting kan, maksudnya sakit ni apa ni maksud ni. But I come from a psychological background. It's actually quite different. Untuk medical mungkin lebih kepada survival, tapi dari sudut psikologi kita akan lebih kepada pertumbuhan. So we not only focusing on the brain problem itself, but we go into the what improvement, the growth of the mind itself. Apa yang otak tu, fikiran tu mampu untuk capai. Because seperti apa yang saya ceritakan berlaku pada kawan saya itulah. Medically, jadi doktor selalunya bila ada penyakit yang serius. When we talk about chronic mental disorder, schizophrenia or bipolar, so usually the doctor akan lebih kepada lifelong medication selalunya. Sebab selalunya memang itu yang berlaku. Memang kena ambil ubat seumur hidup selalunya. But psychologically kita tengok the mind is actually powerful. Kan seperti yang saya cakap dengan cerita tentang kawan saya tu, kan he took the medication and then with the good family support system yang baik. Kemudian dari sudut di penjagaan kesihatan mental dia tu sendiri. Sampai ke tahap yang he no longer need treatment. And even the expert say no longer need treatment, you just need to maintain your well-being lah, jaga kesihatan mental tu sendiri. So I think but medical and psychological both are important. Dua-dua aspek ni penting. Jadi dua-dua aspek ni sangat diperlukan in order untuk bantu pemulihan diri seorang dan penjagaan kesihatan mental tu.
We can see here that again, knowledge is key. For Mr. Amirul, who specializes in psychology, knowing the distinction between medical and psychological cases is key for him to maybe comment back on the comment from the professionals, if I have to say so myself.
Not really comment back, but we accept. Kita terima dalam situasi itulah. We actually accept lah, because he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
And we can see here that when it comes to mental health, there are two distinctions that we can see. First, medically, and second, psychologically, where medically focuses more on survival and psychologically focuses more on growth.
And also you should know, it's not only that, it's also your biological. So it is holistic. It may be your biology itself that affect your mental health.
So again, I would like to continue with an analogy. Maybe mental health itself is just like life. Sometimes we need food to live, to survive. But we also need to educate ourselves. We need to learn to live, to love, and to live for us to actually grow. And that is how I see the medical aspect of mental health and the psychological aspect of mental health. Okay. With that, we have come to the end of our forum session. Before I move on to our next session, Mr. Amirul and Sheikh Mumtazah, are there anything else that you would like to add to this discussion?
May I? A little bit. I go first, eh? Okay. I think this is my motivation. This is what I want to say to you, to my younger client. Younger generation, I guess. I don't know. Maybe friends. I don't know. Okay. What I see from you guys punya trend of behavior. Okay, this is from my experience. Okay, I just want to say that you guys have to be more trusting your decision. Sebab I perasan most of the people yang I jumpa younger or even at the same age point having difficulty to decide on your own, to express what you think, to express or to trust that, oh, I think this way, so I want to do this. You kind of like, not you, I mean generally, especially my client, having like hesitation to speak what they think, but in a proper manner. You have to understand, speak up. You have the authority to talk, but using the right words with the proper ways to speak. You know, you have the platform, so talk, but using a proper words. Knowledgeable that you have, speak and decide for yourself. You jangan takut untuk buat keputusan untuk diri sendiri. That's what I find out from my experience lah. For me, I rasa macam, why you don't want to decide? Why you want to put your decision on other people? Why you want to depend on other people's judgment for you to decide? You know, it's your life. Decide. And kalau decision tu salah sekalipun, it's okay, start over. That's why I bagi tips macam mana you nak survive this world on the perspective of a CP, from my based on experience lah. You know, life is hard. Life is scary. Especially bila you nak pilih, oh, what want I do bila I besar, I nak jadi apa kalau aku keluar belajar, aku nak kerja apa So this is why spiritual strength is very important. Sebab, again, I'm sorry, this is a bit of religion tau. Bukan sebab I alim tak. Sebab I think these things work. You need that inner strength. You need that religion, spiritual strength untuk bantu you decide hidup dalam dunia. Okay? You need Tuhan. You need Allah untuk decide untuk you. So that you ada keyakinan untuk decide hidup you. Walaupun hidup you tersalah decide. Tapi still, maksudnya, tersalah decide tu gerincir sikit. Tapi still come back to the track. So I bagi tips. It doesn't mean that you kena bangun tahajud. No. Doesn't mean that you kena buat solat sunat. No. Yes, if you reach that stage, Alhamdulillah, you are very good. Sebab you still muda, you dah capable to do that. Yang mana orang lain umur 50, 60 still baru nak merangkak. Okay, sebab I bagi experience I bila I kerja, I rasa dulu hidup ni macam panjang sangat. Tapi bila you dah masuk kerja, you dah dapat semua. I ada master, I ada degree, I ada kerja. Tapi kan, bila you balik rumah, it's only routine. You faham tak? You pergi kerja, you bangun. Contoh, I balik kerja pukul 5. I macam masak, makan, and then tidur. And then bangun, pergi kerja balik. Dia rasa macam rutin. Dia rasa macam, ni je ke hidup aku? Tak ada makna. Tak ada macam, there is no spark. There is no like, impactful like, takkan ni je hidup aku. Pergi kerja, hadap kerja, dapat gaji. You faham tak? Tak ada makna yang macam, sedangkan hidup ni lebih daripada tu. It's a journey towards death, right? Again, I say, akhirat is the end of anything. So, for me, the tips is started to build your inner strength, the spiritual strength. Sebab connection with God. Orang yang berjaya adalah dia jaga hubungan dia dengan manusia, dia jaga hubungan dia dengan Allah. Dekat sini, you kena faham Tuhan tu maha pengasih. So, even a small effort for you, contoh, you selawat 1 hari sekali, That's your effort. You kena appreciate that. Tuhan lagi dah nampak you sebab dia tu Maha Pengasih. So start at least build your inner strength through spiritual wise. Sikit, satu doa sehari ke, satu selawat sehari ke, sebab benda tu akan affect your strength. You faham tak? Dia akan instill your belief towards your God and your connection. So Tuhan tu akan alihkan tenaga, akan alihkan kepercayaan, akan alihkan keyakinan kepada you untuk decide which one yang wise untuk aku. Sebab you tak nak tersalah pilih. So jangan pernah tinggalkan Tuhan dalam setiap decision. Sebab He's gonna guide you. So kalau tersalah sekalipun, you have done your best, right? I'm asking you to guide me, right, God? So if I'm here, not in the right way means I believe you have better plan for me. So I don't care. So I'll just leave this. So jangan pernah tinggal Tuhan sebab dia macam rugilah. Last mati katak. Sebab you hidup untuk dunia je. Untuk pergi kerja je hidup you. Macam tu. I mean, it doesn't have to bangun tahajud sampai 4 pagi, 3 pagi. No. Start with small acts. Start with small recitation. Start with small knowledge every day. Macam tu. Start explore. That's my last things I want to say.
So again, maybe as we all Muslims tend to say, hablum minallah, hablum minan-nas. We take care of our relationship with God and we take care of our relationship with humans, and inshallah Allah will help us with our life. And another thing, talking about religion, not religion specifically, I myself hold like a saying in life. We need 4 things which can be simplified with the term do it. Di, doa, usaha, ikhtiar, tawakal. Sometimes people always think about the DUI part but forgot about the T part, tawakal. Sometimes when we do things, when we already have done our best effort, we need to tawakal. Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allah. We need to learn to just let it go and let Allah do what's best for us. Inshallah, even if it's not what's best for us right now, let's say you're working hard for your exams and you fail. A'udzubillah min zalik. Maybe there's something better for you in the future. So don't forget to always tawakal. And for those that maybe who are not in the Muslim Islam religion, you still need to have faith. Faith and belief is important, as I can infer from Cik Mumtazah. Have faith in a higher power that can guide you, that will guide you to a better future. Maybe it's not now, but it might be later on. So Cik Amirul Ramli.
Okay, bismillah. Saya suka dengan moderator. Best. So untuk tips saya, kena hati-hati dengan perkara yang tanpa perasan, without you consciously aware. Tanpa perasan mempengaruhi kesihatan mental. Tanpa perasan. Contoh, seperti yang Puan Mumtazah sebut tadi, kan kita sebut tentang amygdala, emotional. Kemudian prefrontal cortex tu kawalan kepada emosi tu. Mungkin tanpa sedar, you actually scrolling too much, binge watching, and your dopamine sampai tu drop, and susah sikit dari sudut kawalan emosi, and jadi tu tanpa sedar. Also, we talk about self-harm, cederakan diri, rasa nak tamatkan nyawa sebab tak nampak sinar, tak nampak jalan keluar. Dan benda tu berkait dengan serotonin tadi tu. Tanpa sedar, basically tadi moderator sebut tentang makan, kan, hidup ni seperti makanan, seperti makan. So actually when we talk about serotonin, 80% produce from your gut. Dari apa yang anda makan. Jadi tanpa sedar, boleh jadi anda makan fast food banyak sangat, processed food banyak sangat. Not to say tak boleh makan langsung, but you need to realize, emosi aku tak okey lah. Kan, jadi tengok balik, punya aku makan ni banyak, makan tu banyak sangat. Jadi kena kawal balik dari sudut pemakanan tu. Sebab memang ada gut brain exist lah, kita panggil. So apa yang berlaku dekat gut ni, perut, usus besar, usus kecil, dia akan efek dari sudut kesihatan mental tu sendiri tanpa sedar. Jadi kena hati-hati dengan perbuatan diri sendiri. Tanpa sedar kadang-kadang menyebabkan kawalan pemikiran tu jadi lemah. Kita kurang interaksi sosial, we stay too much in our room, kita tak keluar, dapatkan cahaya matahari pagi, kurang aktiviti fizikal. Jadi dari sudut itu kadang-kadang dia mempengaruhi lah. So we need to be aware of that.
Thank you, Mr. Amirul Ramli. We've talked about
makanan.
We've talked about now we can see that might be some unforeseen circumstances that we might overlook sometimes, something that we might just forget, something as small as the food we eat. So maybe it's time for us to educate ourselves on how our intake of food might affect how our brain produces the chemicals that keeps us alive.
Also, when I talk about the food, I actually refer to bacteria baik, bacteria jahat. You heard right? Kadang-kadang bila makan makanan processed food, fast food banyak sangat, jadi keseimbangan, the balance of the microbiota is actually disrupted, terganggu. Jadi kena minum Yakult ke, baik apa, probiotik, prebiotik, makan tempe, something yang fermented lah, kimchi, something to balance back your probiotic. I actually read a new research, said coffee actually good lah untuk microbiota tu. But need to be aware lah, bila you minum coffee petang, you're gonna disrupt your sleep. So need to be aware of that. Manage your time.
To those coffee lovers out there, what a delight. We can drink coffee and it can help our gut biome.
So, but be aware now, because if you drink it late, it's gonna disrupt your sleep. If you dream, let's say you dream kena kejar hantu, contoh mimpi kena kejar hantu, mimpi yang menyeramkan, you are actually susah nak recover disebabkan caffeine tu. Bila susah nak recover, bermaksud hari berikutnya, aduh semalam aku mimpi apalah, terganggu lah. So it's disrupt lah. So you need to be aware lah, conscious.
So even though we do love coffee, we can see that everything is better in moderation. So do manage it well. So with that, I would like to end our forum session for today. So let us now proceed to the next segment of the program. We are pleased to open the floor to for the question and answer session. If the participant have any questions for our panelists, kindly scan the QR code shown on the screen and submit your question through the website. And for those who are watching from YouTube, we also implore you to scan the QR on the screen and submit your question to the website. Okay, so we have a few questions that have been submitted by the audience. Before we proceed, I would like to thank the audience for being active in this discussion today. So, our first question: when is it the right time to seek help, and how can we identify if we have mental issues? Maybe Cik Mumtazah, you would like to take this question?
So the question is when the right time for you to seek for help, right? So first thing first, you have to be aware of your basic needs. When you started to feel that your sleep become dysregulated pattern of sleeping habits. No, not habits. No. Okay, first you identify whether your sleeps become disrupted. Dah dysregulated. Jadi macam tidur terganggu tengah malam or tidur tak boleh tidur. Usually you become on bed at 10 but you cannot sleep until 3. That means something wrong. And it's happened for prolonged time, means like 1 to 2 weeks. That's already alarming. You should at least seek consultations or assessment at hospital also can, because it can also be affected by physical health. So we're afraid there is something in your body that affect your sleep. So get treated through screening. Jumpa doktor dulu, GP, general practitioner. And if they said nothing is wrong with your body functioning, that means it's time for you to meet professional in terms of mental health. Second, your appetite become affected. Whether you become too appetite, terlampau berselera atau kurang berselera. Okay, so that's when you know that something wrong with your body, because usually people using food to cope with stress through binge eating. Okay, maksudnya 2 pinggan tu okay lagi. 3 ke 4 pinggan at one time is not right. It's not normal. So you might not aware of that. Thirdly is when you become easily or emotionally vulnerable to the extent that easily irritated, even at things that you are not easily irritated. You started to feel that, annoyingnya, started to feel very, very easily reactive. Okay, usually you tak reactive bila you in that situation. So that's when you have to meet professionals. So check, sebab kita ada assessment, right? Kita ada screening, right? So bila kita orang dengar that complaint, so we give you the assessment. So the measure from the score, we know already what's happening in terms of your emotion, anger ke, frustrations ke, disappointment ke, anxious ke, overwhelmed ke, we can already measure it from the screening. And then we can explain to you why you're behaving this way. Other than that is that when your socialization is affected, maksudnya you dah start isolate diri you daripada kawan-kawan or family. You dah suka duduk bersendirian, tak suka keluar, tak suka pergi mingle around. Kalau you jenis yang suka mingle around, kalau you jenis yang introvert, tapi benda tu tak affect you, that means you are not affected pun sebenarnya. So for those yang jenis suka socializing tapi suddenly you jadi isolate yourself from your friends and family, that means something wrong somewhere. You are not comfortable, right, to mingle around. That means something on your head, something on your thoughts. So go meet professional to talk about it, to identify what's the thoughts actually. Sebab people are not aware. Sebab sekarang kalau I tanya you fikir apa semalam? Tak boleh tidur. Because usually my client, bila I tanya, okay, what's happened? Your sleep macam mana? Dia kata tak boleh tidur dah few days, 5 days, 6 days. So what did you do before you sleep? I'm thinking. So what did you think? I don't remember. So in this session, I give you thought sheet. So you go home, make sure you record whatever you think before you sleep, so that you came on the next session, we're going to discuss about that thoughts, whether it's true or not, or is it just your assumption, or is it just your emotional reasoning, you know? So we're going to talk about that. That's when you know that when you need to seek help, the basic need got affected, socialization become decreased, and your emotional become more vulnerable compared to previously. That's very simple. That's it.
So we can see here that sometimes it's the little things in life, the things that we consider routine. Sometimes we might say that, oh, memang aku biasa tidur lambat, or maybe I don't have the mood to eat today. Those are the little things that we need to watch out for. If any of us here have those kind of symptoms, maybe it's time for us to try and seek help. Okay, so for the audience member here, if you feel like a question that you can see on the Slido website, something that you can relate to, feel free to like the question, as the question will pop up in my screen over here, and I can better read the question for you guys. Okay, so I think I'll open this question for both of our panelists. What are some advice that I can give a friend who is feeling burnt out because of constant negative talk from his or her peers, while also struggling with academic stress? Do you want me to repeat?
I'm okay with boleh. So basically, to avoid your burnout, kurangkan risiko burnout tu, you actually need kena sedar yang you are having a limited energy budget daily. Every day when you wake up, you actually have limited. Sama macam battery phone. Jadi kalau you bangun je tidur, kemudian you scroll social media, you tengok posting yang akhirnya buat you marah. Jadi kat situ you are wasting your energy lah. Kan? Bila energy kurang, dari sudut kawalan emosi, nanti tu problem. Kan? Overthinking tu maksudnya you nak return back to the rational part, it's going to consume a lot of energy. So, and you nak study, nak belajar apa semua lagi, nak seimbangkan lagi. So, kena hati-hati dengan pembaziran tenaga tanpa sedar. Sebab tu penting ada rutin. Sebagai student, rutin is very important. Rutin meaning, kalau you tak ada apa-apa, you janganlah keluar saja outing tanpa sebab. Kadang-kadang boleh jadi sesuatu berlaku, contoh kereta rosak. Kan? Bila dah rosak lah tu, sepatutnya aku kat bilik study ni, tapi ni kereta rosak pula, apa berlaku. Jadi you need to be aware lah, sebab energy kita daily limited. You still a student, jadi kena jimat. Fokus tenaga, daya upaya you, fokus tu lebih kepada untuk belajar, productivity, you punya kejayaan dalam di universiti ni.
So we can see here that for us to avoid getting burnt out, we need to properly manage our energy. we need to be aware that when we wake up with a limited amount of energy.
And sometimes we need to say no lah. Kadang-kadang kau ngajak keluar, jom lah keluar sama. But sometimes we need to say no because we know our own energy lah. Kita tahu kita punya keupayaan. Kalau kita dah overwork dan memang kita nak keluar, it's okay. Tapi kalau ada benda yang kita nak fokuskan dan kita terpaksa menurut, macam kita people pleaser kan. Jadi need to be aware of that. Usually saya kadang-kadang dekat universiti biasalah bergaduh dengan kawan. Kau ni aku ajak keluar pun berkira. But we know our own capacity lah. And we need to study because we have, masa depan yang nak dikejar.
So setting boundaries is also a good way for us to properly conserve our energy. So for this question, I would like to reiterate the question again because I do think that there's been some miscommunication with the question. The question is, the question is, what are advices that I can give to a friend who is burnt out from studying while also being academically struggling and being bombarded by negative comments by her peers, her friends? To elaborate the situation, maybe I have a friend who is struggling academically but is also burnt out. So what advice can I give to my friend?
If I the friend, I would say you need to meet professionals, mental health provider, for getting the clear picture what's happening to these friends. Because realistically thinking, you are experiencing academic performance struggles, but you are burnt out. It doesn't align. You having academic performance struggle, but you burn out. Basically, what did you do? It doesn't align. Maksudnya something else you do that doesn't help with your academic. You kata you ada academic performance. No, I'm not offensively macam confronting. No, I'm trying to figuring out what's happening with this client. You ada issue with academic, but you burn out. But academic you doesn't go very well. But what did you do? What did you do? Maksudnya apa yang you buat sampai you burn out tu not right. Sebab apa? You burn out, academic you jatuh. Maksudnya you buat tu tak betul lah. Something wrong with what did you do? So check back. What did you do at that time? Fix that for me lah. Kalau datang session. So I will ask that. Okay, what did you do all this time? So that we know. Oh, you see, this doesn't work. You have to change another alternative. Why don't you try this? We discuss in the session. So basically the behavior yang dia buat sampai dia burn out tu doesn't help with the academic lah. Maksudnya that style of learning, you have to change lah their learning style. Ada setengah orang, dia expect, my client, dia datang session I, dia kata, oh, I'm having academic performance yang low lah, miss. I pergi kelas, I tak dapat tangkap my lecturer cakap apa. But I tanya, you balik rumah, you buat revision tak? Tak. What they expect, study dalam lecture takkan boleh buat you perform. You memang kena balik revision, take it 3 times, 4 times revision, do it. Sebab setiap orang, capability untuk sustain the attention and memory in the lecture is different. So you jangan expect you sama dengan kawan you. Kawan you maybe gifted from genetik yang memang IQ tinggi. So you do you. So maksudnya behavior yang you buat maksud tu tak compliant you, tak align with your academic tu. Maksudnya salah lah cara you buat. Tak kena dengan you punya style. So my advice is always go to therapy so that you can talk more with your therapist.
Also if I can add, agak merisaukan kalau anda terlalu risau akan kawan itu. Faham ke? So, kita okay, prihatin okay, and you have empathy okay, but if you are too worried about what happened to your friend, it actually could affect your own mental health. You kena jaga your own lah. Kan kita risau, kita prihatin dengan kawan, but kita boleh bantu apa yang boleh bantu dari sudut fizikal. Ajak dia keluar ke, beriadah ke sekali-sekala, dan ajak dia dapatkan cahaya matahari pagi, exercise ke, belikan dia Yakult ke contohnya. Untuk peribadi, you don't know what happened to him kan. So basically you need to preserve lah, jaga your own mental health so that you can jaga kawan juga. Tapi you tak boleh kawan burn out, you pun burn out juga sebab semata-mata sebab kawan.
Okay, so there you have it. If you want to give advice to some of your friends, maybe the greatest advice would be to go and get help. Sometimes people need that encouragement.
Because nasihat yang kurang berkesan adalah daripada kawan rapat. Betul. Bila maksudnya adik-beradik sendiri ataupun kawan rapat, dia yang bagi nasihat kurang berkesan lah sebenarnya. So actually you tak digalakkan lah sebenarnya untuk bagi nasihat dengan kawan sendiri, but apa yang you boleh buat sebenarnya, ajak dia keluar ke, beriadah ke, macam tu. Sebab dia tahu you kan, kalau you bagi nasihat, kau pun macam tu, kau nak bagi nasihat kat aku. So tak digalakkan lah.
Okay, and to add on, sometimes maybe like Cik Mumtazah said, if you're studying hard but you're still having some problems, maybe it's time to just sit down and self-reflect on what are our routine, what are the things that we do daily that might impede our ability to learn properly. Okay, so moving on to our next question. I'll open this question for both of our panelists again. Sometimes from the floor, you feel great in life, but why do you feel lonely, even with a good support system of family and close friends? What is that nagging loneliness?
I think there is no specific factual regarding loneliness, but loneliness memang akan ada dalam hidup manusia. Sebab you manusia, you memang seorang, you memang satu. So by hook or by crook, you have to deal with it. That's the loneliness. Tu baru dunia, you boleh bayang dalam kubur. I mean, realistically, we are human, right? I mean, Tuhan dah bagi sikit dah dekat dunia. Rasakan kesunyiannya. How it affect your life. So you kena bayangkan lah. Sebab tu inner strength is very important. Sebab dia akan tahan you daripada buat benda yang zalim dekat diri you sendiri. So in order for us to not feel lonely, we cannot do anything about that. So manage your days, manage your thoughts, manage your inner spiritual. Sebab tu you perlukan spiritual untuk cater that loneliness. Sebab loneliness memang tak boleh buat apa. Memang akan ada. Setiap manusia ada. Bila you dah dewasa lagi lah. Bila partner you dah tak ada. Bila one of your spouse dah meninggal. Katakan for those yang lepas pencen kan. So that's why they back getting to their friends. So that's why dalam hidup jangan pernah tinggal kawan. Even though you dah ada spouse. Kawan is kawan. Kawan bukan sebab untuk kahwin or ada partner bukan sebab untuk you tinggal, you adik-beradik, you kawan. Sebab spouse boleh diambil orang, spouse boleh mati, spouse boleh hilang. Kawan will be there. So jangan pernah hilang kawan, jangan pernah tinggal kawan hanya untuk nikmat sementara. So pegang yang mana berkualiti tu. Because you can manage that. Learn how to manage. That for me lah. Loneliness memang tak nak buat apa, memang akan ada sampai bila-bila. Even sampai kubur. Macam tu. Okay.
Encik Ramli ada nak tambah?
Boleh. Lagi satu, you are going to get lonely kalau you terlalu bergantung dengan orang lain untuk mendapatkan kegembiraan. Kalau you dah terlalu biasa to get the happiness from your friends or some activity that you done. Jadi bila terlalu bergantung, when you are actually alone, kan, you akan rasa lebih lonely lah. Walaupun dah kahwin, you have dah ada anak, kan, tapi kalau kegembiraan you sendiri tak boleh nak jana daripada diri sendiri, memang you akan rasa kesunyian lah dalam hidup ni. Walaupun ada kawan, ada sosial yang menyokong, kan.
I guess that's just a universal truth. In the end, we are all alone with ourselves, one way or another. But a good way to prevent that is by having a good circle of friends. Like Cik Mumtazah and Cik Amirul Ramli said, if we have friends, if let's say even if our spouse were to pass away or maybe our girlfriend dumped us, we can always go back to our friends for support. We can always have fun with our friends. And this is a story, I won't mention any names whatsoever, but I do have a friend that back then he was dependent on people for his happiness. He's always like, oh, I have to go out with this guy, I have to go out with that guy, I have to be close with that group of friends. But when one day somehow he's alone, no one is there with him, so he got sad, he got lonely. But as of now, he's trying to learn to live with himself, learn to just be okay, be enough with himself. And I can personally say that I've seen him happier nowadays compared to later. Okay. Now, okay.
So bila sebut tentang kesunyian, kadang-kadang yelah kita bergantung dengan kawan. Tapi sebenarnya you are lonely kalau you tak ada interaksi sosial. Sedangkan kan interaksi sosial dia maksud jumpa dengan Pak Guide, kita berbual, sembang, kan, jumpa dengan lecturer, bertegur sapa. So it actually help. Kan kalau you bergantung dengan kawan, dengan ahli keluarga, so sometimes you are gonna feel lonely, but dunia ni besar kan, kita pergi pasar, kita pergi kedai, sentiasa ada orang kan, kita beramah mesra dengan cashier dan dengan seorang yang stranger. So dia akan membantulah, interaksi sosial tu dia akan bantu untuk mengurangkan rasa kesunyian.
Okay, thank you Cik Muntafa and Mr. Amirul for answering the question. Okay, now moving on for our next question from the floor. There's a lot of questions. There's really a lot of questions. Let's say if there are questions that you guys submitted but did not get answered, feel free to reach out to Cik Muntafa or Mr. Amirul to get your questions answered. Maybe again, I would like to promote the hall beside me over here. There will be a booth open up for you guys to get personal counseling. Maybe you could get your questions answered there. Okay, without wasting any more time. The question, does having panic attack is considered one of mental health issues?
No. So you have to understand that the difference between panic attack and panic disorder is two different things. So panic attack can happen to anyone when they are experiencing any situations yang triggered diorang punya flight and fight response in diorang punya nervous systems. So how to distinguish between panic attack and panic disorder is that someone panic attack ni can happen to anyone tapi dia tak impact or tak affected the daily functioning of that person. I might experience panic attack. They might experience panic attack. Kalau kita experience any emergency situation yang menyebabkan kita punya nervous system in that kind of flight and fight mode. So, kalau panic disorder ni, bila you experience frequent panic attack sampai to the extent you tak boleh nak function, tak boleh pergi kerja, tak boleh pergi kelas, tak boleh academic performance you affected, socialization you affected, tak boleh keluar rumah langsung. That is panic attack. That is panic disorder. It's disorder, celaru. Sampai you punya kefungsian hidup tu tak boleh buat apa, terjejas. Kalau panic attack, it can happen to anyone. And it can usually cured after you dah tak experience that situation. Depends on that person punya levels of body lah, mental health masa tu. Does that answer? Okay.
So we can see here the distinction between just a panic attack and panic disorder. There's two distinctions that I can see from your answer just from Cik Mumtaza. First of all, whether it is long term, and second, if it's reoccurring, and maybe a third point, does it affect our daily life? If it fulfills those three condition, then it might be good for you to go and get help, as it might be a panic disorder. But if it's just a one-time thing and it doesn't affect your daily life, then it's just a panic attack and you don't need to worry, but maybe you need to find ways to help you properly regulate yourself to prevent further panic attacks. Okay, thank you Cik Mumtaza for answering the question. Okay, for our next question, this question is directly for Cik Mumtaza. Based on your answer for one of the questions before, how much sleep do we need to function efficiently in life?
Okay, I do read some of the research and some of the organization, WHO, World Health Organization, and CDC, Center of Disease and Prevention, if not mistaken, from United States. It stated that they come up with classifications of sleeping hours period for certain age periods, for a certain age groups. Okay, they kata for the age of 18 until 64 years old needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep daily. So ni yang dikeluarkan oleh WHO and CDC tau. It's from United States. So it's memang justified lah. Sebab dia orang do research to come up with this kind of groups of sleeping hours. So 6 until 64 years old, 18 until 64 years old, the needs of sleep you need is 7 to 9 hours daily.
Thank you, Cik Mumtaza. So again, maybe we could read up on more research paper to see how much sleep we need And maybe some people, I don't know whether this is true, so correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe some people could function with different levels of sleep. So maybe you can learn to experiment with yourself. How much sleep do you need? Because sometimes too much sleep would leave you more tired than energized. Okay. Now another question. Maybe this question relates to the trust within the system. The question reads from the floor: can a therapist misjudge our mental health? And what if we're normal, but they thought we are not? I mean, like the system overall. Sometimes some people, one of the stigma that I've been hearing about recently is that people don't really trust the system. People think that, okay.
Okay, I understood. So it's maybe based on someone's experience, right? So it could happen. It could happen. So it's very important for you to identify the right therapist. So check dia orang punya background of expertise. Because sometimes sekarang banyak therapist yang tak qualified, tak registered, tak certified. So check it first. And then it's important for you to tahu background, and dia akan ada bad side story lah kalau therapist tu ada issue with the client previously. So jangan simply percaya with every therapist that you go. I mean, it's okay for you to first encounter the session, then you judge lah, therapist ni okay ke tak. So in order for you to identify, you kena jumpa that therapist dulu. Tengok therapist ni cakap apa dekat you. How they treat you based on session and also based on the background. So you can't know. Sometimes they can lie, right? So you go to the session lah to judge them. You have the right to judge, right? Okay, I think that's all for me.
So again, maybe this is something that we, those who are trying to seek help, can try and do and see for ourselves. Go for the first session and judge the therapist on how they treat you and how they diagnose you and how they treat you overall. So, Cik Mumtazah, this is a question from me myself. If let's say we judge the therapist and we find the therapist to be incompatible with us, we can request for a change in therapist or psychiatrist, right?
You have right. Okay, I give example. Before you continue with the session or the therapist, for the first session, the first thing first, important things therapist tu kena bagi dekat you is informed consent, right? So you make sure baca properly the informed consent. What are the conditions that makes you able to withdraw from the session right away? So usually, memang client ada hak untuk withdraw right away if they are uncomfortable or if they feel like disinterested, uninterested. You have right to withdraw right away. So just tell the therapist, sorry sir, sorry miss, I think I can't commit to the session till on because I have my personal issue. I hope you understand. Then settle. They're not gonna take it personally. Don't worry. Yeah, as easy as that. You have your authority, so decide.
Okay, thank you, Cik Mumtazah, for answering the question. So, I think this is quite a heavy question. So I'll open the question for both of you. If let's say, not me, if someone ever planned to attempt suicide and is so close to doing it, but cancel it last minute, is that concerning?
It's concerning at that moment, but since you got the insight that, oh, I shouldn't do this, that means you are back to your rationality, right? So my suggestions, you already safe, tapi it's good for you to go for seeking sessions, seeking therapy, sebab you need guidance because sometimes that episode can attack you back. We understand that sometimes the low moods can trigger you to self-harm, to suicide attempt. It's not because you want, but because of that low mood. It's influenced how the way you think. It's influenced your impulse control. So it's better for you to go seek helps from the professional so that every week you ada pemerhatian daripada you punya therapist. So usually kalau this kind of cases, suicidal attempt history kita panggil, so kita datang session, kita akan buat safety plan. So dalam safety plan tu kita akan plan, okay, kalau you experience this kind of event lagi, usually I akan remind my client untuk, okay, usually before you have this kind of feeling, you akan rasa apa, you perasan what happened to your body. So you have to be very aware of that early sign or early trigger. So be aware of that things. So bila you dah rasa, oh, I think I experienced this kind of early sign, that's when you go avoid all those tempat yang bahaya. seek help from your social support. Jangan duduk seorang, duduk dengan kawan. So dia macam tolong you untuk prevent daripada attempt it. And then you akan jumpa follow up kan dengan you punya therapist. So you cerita lah dekat you punya therapist. So therapist you akan jadi lebih aware of your condition. Dia macam kena ada support tapi dia tak always ada. Tapi dia bantu you untuk lebih aware of your mind. It's called mindfulness. So I nak fix a bit understanding regarding mindfulness ni. Dia bukan macam I pandang awan bergerak. It doesn't work that way. Mindfulness in this context is that you aware what you fikir, apa you rasa, apa behavior you. I rasa macam something wrong dengan I this week. I cepat react, I cepat marah. So that's mindfulness. You tahu your condition of emotion is not in a normal state. Maksudnya you kena buat apa? Reflect back lah, what's happened this week to me sampai I rasa macam ni. There must be something affecting my thoughts, right? Yeah. So that's why you perlukan therapist. Kalau suicidal attempt tu dah QC dah very severe condition. I'm pretty sure dia tak akan sesaja attempt. There must be other disorder symptom lah. So that's why you need therapist or clinical psychologist untuk monitor you on that symptoms. So it's okay, we're gonna talk that into sessions lah later. Macam tu for me. It's back to the question. It's safe but not that safe. Okay, so you can moderately aware of your condition.
So for those out there who had an attempt but in the end did not go through with it, it's better for you guys to go and get yourself checked and at least come up with a safety plan for you guys to be better aware in the future. So that when, let's say, some triggers were to arise again, you know that you need to go and get help and you know that you need to go get yourself away from those kind of triggers. So again, do be aware of how you yourself react to the triggers around you. Okay.
Can I show a little bit? Bila berlaku self-harm tu maksudnya you sedar ia akan datang tau. Ada masa dia datang, sebelum dia pergi. And once dia pergi, meaning rational tu dah datang balik, you need to do something lah. You avoid being alone, you meet with specialist. Macam tu. Kena sedar yang dia akan pergi, lepas tu dia datang semula. And you tak nak bila datang semula tu, you dalam keadaan yang bersiko. Tak bersedia, bersiko. Jadi bila berlaku sesuatu, you need to be prepared.
Again, going back to the triggers, we need to be aware of our own triggers. And if, let's say, the triggers were to arrive, we need to be aware and we need to take steps in order to prevent things from snowballing back into valley and attempt. Okay, so for our next, this might be our last question for today. So if any of you again wants to get your questions answered, feel free to visit the booth at the Dewan besides. Okay, for our last question. Okay, so for both Mr. Amirul and Cik Mumtazah, what are your opinions on whether mental health issues are a problem of the current generation, considering that in the past, such issues were less discussed, meaning that before this current generation, the millennials, the Gen Zs, the alphas and everything, these kind of issues were less discussed and we tend to see less of it. But right now, it's at an all-time high. So what are your opinion about it? Is it a product of the generation, of the environment, or is it something else altogether?
Personally, based on my practice as a practitioner, I don't think it's a current issue. No, I think it's happened all the time ago. It just underdiagnosed. Kita tak sedar je. Why I become a clinical psychologist itself is because of my own experience. Masa I remaja kot, I don't know, high school, sekolah rendah. There is one family relative, dia macam pelik. Dia macam orang expect dia gila. Orang label dia gila sebab dia macam meracau, dia macam keluar. But basically bila ada jadi clinician, I rasa it's schizophrenia. Tapi that's where I dapat insight. I want to study psychology based off him. So thanks to him, I got to spread more knowledge, treat more people because of him. Semoga syurga untuk dia. And then it's not because of now current issue, tapi kerana modernization, is it? Modernization might be one of the factor. But it's not a fully factor of why mental health semakin meningkat. Tapi mental health issue ni memang dah ada dari dulu. 10, 20, 30 years ago memang dah ada tapi is underdiagnosed. Kita je tak tahu ADHD ada, autism ada, panic ada. Orang tak cakap, orang takut nak express that difficulties for me. So I don't think it's right to salahkan generation because you guys experience a difficulty juga in terms of education, in terms of rising parental styles, yang sandwich, I don't know, sandwich what? What's the term? Sandwich generation. You guys also have to go through a lot of stuff kan compared to previous generation. Everyone got their own struggle lah. So nak salahkan satu generation at one time is not right. Just because you want to feel safe, nak salahkan each generation. It's not right. You have to do proper research lah. Tapi untuk salahkan generation sekarang, kenapa mental health semakin meningkat, I don't think that's the answer. Even based on my experience pun memang dari dulu dah ada. Even schizo is the worst, is the most chronic and severe mental health. Sebab bila you dah ada schizophrenia, you tak boleh sembuh. You hanya boleh manage. You will live with that disease, with that disorder sampai akhir hayat, tapi you still can functioning lah. Tapi you kena pergi therapy dan makan medication. Kalau tak treated, then you will be affecting your cognitive. So you tak boleh nak cakap properly, you tak boleh nak buat judgement, you tak boleh nak buat planning, you tak boleh nak buat critical thinking sebab your cognitive affected. That's how big, how impactful is schizophrenia. So be careful sebab salah satu faktor dia adalah overly stress. So jagalah stress you sebab kalau tak dijaga, you boleh develop schizophrenia. Even kita normal population pun kalau over stress, dia boleh menyebabkan seseorang delusional and hallucinate and also cognitive dysfunctioning. So be careful of it.
Kalau dulu lebih kepada physical. Maksudnya cabaran for generation dulu lah, generasi ayah kita, mak ayah kita lebih kepada cabaran dari sudut fizikal tu sendiri. Kerja berat, apa semua, not more on mental itself. But mungkin disebabkan faktor teknologi dan kehidupan semasa, jadi memang cabaran lah berlaku sekarang ni dan risiko tu mungkin mudah terdedah lah kepada gangguan kesihatan mental berlaku. Tapi betul seperti apa yang disebut oleh CP, contohnya ADHD apa semua tu dulu dah ada, cuma sekarang ni awareness tu dah banyak. Jadi banyak yang pergi diagnose, banyak yang tahulah. Itu bezalah dulu dengan sekarang.
Thank you, Mr. Amirul and Sheikh Mumtazah. So we can see here that it might be, maybe it might be a difference in our generation as our fathers and mothers before, their generations are generations of labor work. So the mental side of things is not really that pronounced, so to say. But as we move on to our current day and age, we need to solve more complex problems. We need to think more. Besides doing physical labor, now we need to do more mental work compared to physical work. So as of now, it might be more pronounced. And as Sheikh Mumtazah said, we can see that we should be bersyukur that right now we are not living in a day and age where mental health is stigmatized. As of now, there's more awareness. That's the word. There's more awareness with mental health. So that's why it's more diagnosed now. Before this, it was underdiagnosed. That's why it seems little. But as of now, it seems more because we are having the proper care, the proper time for us to address this problem.
Also, the medication is quite good. It's quite good right now. And it can actually help you to increase your serotonin and fix what's problem with your brain chemistry.
Okay, thank you, Sheikh Amirul and Sheikh Mumtazah. So, as we come to the end of today's forum, I hope that this discussion has opened our eyes to a crucial truth. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Even though it is often invisible, it is always valid. From the insightful experience of our panelists to the heartfelt stories shared, we've been reminded that seeking help is not just a sign of weakness, it is an act of courage. So, to those who are silently struggling, you are not alone. Support is available, whether through professional counseling, trusted friends, or even empowering online content. The first step is always the most important. As we say, the journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first step. So, on behalf of the organizing committee, I extend our heartfelt Thanks to Mr. Amirul Ramli and Cik Mumtazah Afifah Abdul Halim for their time. Wisdom, and compassion. Thank you also to all of the attendees for being here and for contributing to this meaningful conversation, especially those who have submitted questions through our online website. Let us continue to be kind to others and, just as importantly, to be kind to ourselves. Now, for the next session, I will be passing the floor back to our MCs. Thank you, and please take care of your mental well-being. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of our forum and Q&A session. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to our distinguished speakers, Mr. Amirul Ramli and Ms. Mumtazah Afifah, for their insightful perspective and honest reflection on the topic, the unseen weight we carry. Let's give a round of applause for our panelists. With this, our ceremony for this morning has come to an end. Before we officially conclude this meaningful event, we kindly ask all attendees to stand for the singing of UiTM Di Hatiku. You may now be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the end of today's program, allow me, on behalf of the organizing committee, to express our deepest gratitude to everyone's presence here today, especially to our honored guests, all of our honored VIPs, all our invited panelists, and all of the participants for your time, enthusiasms, and unwavering support in making today's event a success. To commemorate this event, we will now proceed with the group photography sessions. We kindly ask the participants to make their way to the middle of the hall, and this photography session will be coordinated by our appointed media team. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated.
Boleh lah. Dah habis kan? Boleh cakap. Cap. Okey, yang tu ke tengah, lepas tu minta JP penuhkan yang tepi-tepi ni, bahagian VIP ni. JP. Ya. Jawatan kuasa minta penuhkan bahagian-bahagian VIP. Lepas tu yang mana kosong minta ke depan lagi ya. Tak ke depan, penuhkan depan. Minta yang belakang tolong turun ke depan sikit.
Okay. Korang nak aku cakap apa?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. Sekejap. Satu briefing dekat meja. Bukan. Lepas tu nanti tu. Gambar dulu kan? Okay. Semua ready? Kita ambil gambar dulu, lepas tu nanti video. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Freestyle. 1, 2, 3. Last. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Ni nak ambil video pula. Sekejap Okay. Boleh tak kalau doktor cakap 2025 it's a wrap. Sampai tak? Boleh ke?
Sebut apa tadi?
Mental health 2025. Lepas tu yang lain semua sebut it's a wrap.
So saya cakap mental health
2025. Okay. Untuk video nanti doktor akan cakap mental health 2025. Lepas tu semua orang cakap it's a wrap. Okay? Okay, terima kasih.
Mental Health 2025. Alright. Okay.
After this program ended, all the VIPs are invited to visit our booth located outside of the lecture hall. Kindly follow our ushers as they will lead the way. With that, we officially mark the end of today's program. We thank you once again for your presence and participation. Until we meet again at future engagements, we wish you good health, success, and strength. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you. Please be reminded to complete the exit survey, which will be displayed shortly on the screen. We will provide the QR for merit after the exit survey. Everyone can scan the QR for merit. All the attendees, please remain seated. After fill in the merit, we will show the exit survey. Thank you. Is anyone have problem with fill in the e-merit?
All attendees are requested to fill the exit survey form. Thank you. Attention, please make sure all attendees has filled this form because you will only require the e-certificate if you settle this form. Thank you. Semua partisipan